Yo! Tonight, I'm going to play some clips that might make you think just a little bit about the recent dramas going on. So let's buckle down. I think I've got this brand new YouTube streaming system together. And let's hit it tonight because we've got to talk about Bizzy's ex breaking his heart on UNIRock Live. Actually, no, I'm talking about Kyle Curtis, Non Sequitur, and Steve McRae. And this clip right here. We are going to be taking a look at this video that was done on Nate Brody's live stream because there, I believe that Ruhip is alluding to the fact that they knew that this was going to happen with Mr. Potter. The Harry Potter versus the Harry Potter and the Silver Fish Magician versus Kyle. Tonight.
You want me to answer these as you read them?
Okay, sure. So the first, so Agrippa's first point was all of the addresses. He said that the lawyer got the addresses wrong from the beginning, and even later on with the wrong addresses. So do you? I don't know if you want to.
Okay, so I'll correspond to that. So first of all, we do not accept that he had moved, and if it goes to a hearing, we'll present evidence to demonstrate that he hadn't completely moved.
Oh, really? Ruru. So even back on this date, you had evidence that he hadn't completely moved. Well, let's see what date this was, my peeps. It looks like this live stream was done all the way back on August something or other. Why do I have two of these now? It was done on August 16th of 2020 is when this live stream was done. August 16th, that's a full 3 weeks ago. Now, yesterday on September 6th of 2020 is when Benjamin Potts comes out. So what I offer to you to do, you let me know. is this clip that you're about to see, Ruhif talking about filing Benjamin Potts' banger of a thing, or is this him talking about filing the last filing that they did a few days ago? And if you saw the filing that they did a few days ago, it basically is, if you didn't know, it is a Discord recording and an interview that I did with Kyle Curtis on UNIRock 2 and another Discord recording. Now ask yourself, does this describe those three clips, which those three clips basically are just Kyle saying that he got served? They're saying, look, Kyle admitted that he got served. He knows that he got served. So is what Ruhif is saying here him talking about the clips where he got served, or is this Ruhif talking about Potts, Harry Potter?
So in our affidavit, the one that you went through the other day, sorry, the brief that we put in the other day, and it said plaintiff agrees to all, or defendant and plaintiff agree to all these facts. And it said, we agree that defendant lived at 1532 Providence Church Road, Pleasant Garden, at least through July 16th. So that's not an admission that he moved. It's just saying we both agree that he lived there at least until that point. Okay, so we, again, don't acknowledge that he moved. And we'll present evidence at a hearing.
Wait, they're going to present evidence at the hearing. So these guys literally were withholding evidence not to present in a filing before the hearing. As, hey, if you want to get picky about what you're saying, my dude, you're not saying that you're going to present evidence in a filing before the hearing. You're saying that you're going to present evidence at the hearing that he had not moved, that he still was living at the mother's. Now, there's only one thing that's ever come out that fits the descriptor of what Ruhif just said here. That's Benjamin Potts' testimony. That's it. That's all it is Potts' testimony. Keep listening.
If that comes to that. Next point.
If it comes to that, Ruhif is saying, if we think we're going to get beat, we're going to drop evidence that he never moved. They had Potts in their back pocket this whole time. And last night, I showed you that Potts had tagged Steve in February. But when he went back with Kyle Curtis, he deleted those tweets. Luckily, we found them archived. Remember? If we wouldn't have found them archived, we would have had nothing whatsoever to show us that Potts had attempted communication with them before yesterday. So why, if they know about Potts, if they know about what we've just seen yesterday, why did they do the theatrics on Twitter yesterday? Right? Why wouldn't they just show up and drop Potts on the court instead of having him come out and tag Steve publicly and then pretend to start talking to Steve yesterday when we all know now that they've been speaking for a longer period of time? Well, it's obvious. If they would just show up and have Potts in their back pocket, the judge is going to say, why in the world didn't you file this before now? With the Twitter interaction that happened yesterday, they get to pretend to the judge that it all just happened on Twitter 3 days ago, Judge. So now you understand why we need more time before you rule on service, Judge, because you're going to want to hear what Mr. Potts has to say. Now, why wouldn't they want Mr. Potts to come out when they found him? Because they know that it's not going to do anything. What Mr. Potts is going to say is going to be rebutted by Kyle's mother. Kyle's mother has a good reputation. She's never been in trouble. She doesn't have any issues, right? And Mr. Potts is a jilted lover, somebody with a vendetta against Kyle. And also, Mr. Potts is a drug user. As I'm not being mean, he just admitted that. He's been telling people this in the DMs. I really don't care. He's an adult. He can do what he wants. I'm just telling you, because of what he stated, these issues are going to come up in court. Listen to what he says one more time. Die, you are so right. But listen again.
And if it goes to a hearing, we'll present evidence to demonstrate that he hadn't completely moved.
Okay, sure. So the first got the addresses wrong from the beginning, and even later on with the wrong addresses. So I don't know if you want to.
Okay, so I'll respond to that. So first of all, we do not accept that he had moved, and if it goes to a hearing, we'll present evidence to demonstrate that he hadn't completely moved.
I don't understand. If it goes to a hearing, on this date, you knew that it was going to be a hearing. You were wanting a hearing. You guys wanted a hearing. If it goes to a hearing, no. I think what Ruhif is saying here is if it becomes necessary, if we feel like we may lose on Friday at the 9/11 hearing, we are going to have evidence in our back pocket that we are going to go to Twitter. We are going to publicly on Twitter make it look like this person just tagged Steve. We're going to make sure that the previous tweets are deleted so that no dumb as a rock UNIRock ever finds it and blasts us on YouTube about it, right? God help us if these tweets got archived, but probably they didn't. People don't go around archiving random tweets, do they? So there's no way these tweets got archived, right? Well, unfortunately for them, his communications with Steve McRae from February are archived. And that tells me that Steve McRae saw Potts and probably tried to communicate with Potts. And only when they could get to Potts completely, as in Kyle and Potts had fully broken up, did they actually get Potts to probably respond and be able to work him up to doing their plan. Their plan being to extend the hearing, avoid the hearing. The hearing means we get to be screwed. The hearing means our case is thrown out because of a service issue. With the hearing throwing out our case, the default judgment gets thrown out. We lose the default judgment. We are not going to have good luck going in and actually fighting Kyle in a court of law. You know, we almost had this thing. All we had to do was have a couple more weeks with Kyle not showing up. We would have won the default judgment. We would have ordered Kyle Curtis to give us the channel, and if Kyle wouldn't have done it, then the court would have forced him to and locked him up and blah, blah, blah. We would have petitioned YouTube to give us the password, and a court ruled that it's my channel, YouTube, you've got to do it. Whatever they thought would happen, they just needed a few weeks, and that default would have non-sec in their pocket. But when Kyle Curtis showed back up and he started to raise the problem of service, he started raising the problem of rebutting the default. When he started to say, I want to defend myself in court, these guys said to themselves, oh shit, his attorney just owned us in these last few filings. Now let's drop Mr. Benjamin Potts and actually do something. And the lawyer said, guys, if you do that, Scotty Forbes Lee is just going to cross-examine him and completely destroy him. So there's no use to you if you drop him. Now, you know, a month ago, 2 months ago, 3 weeks ago, there's no use. Scotty Forbes Lee is just going to destroy the guy and cross-examine him and just completely expose the dude. So what did they do? They said, well, what can we use Benjamin Potts' testimony for? One, we could use it to cast doubt in the public eye. We could use it to cast doubt in the judge's mind. And we could also use him to push back the default judge or the ruling on service. If we push back the ruling on service, it buys us time to try to dig up some more laws, to try to dig up some more evidence. Maybe we can prove that Kyle did something wrong. Maybe we can hem Kyle up. But no matter what happens, if we get to Friday on 9/11 without anything happening, the judge is just going to throw out our case.
So in our affidavit, the one that you went through the other day, sorry, the brief that we put in the other day, and it said plaintiff agrees to or defendant and plaintiff agree to all these facts. And it said, we agree that defendant
yes, according to Steve McRae, I got my law degree online.
Lived at 1532 Providence Church Road, Pleasant Garden.
You really got to listen to what Ruhif says. Now, remember, in the 3 recordings that they submitted in their filing, nothing is said about Kyle Curtis still living with his mother. Nothing. All that's said in those 3 recordings that they turned in is that Kyle Curtis might have known that he was being sued. Okay? Now, everybody knows that in court, actual notice is not proper service. Kyle can know that he's being sued. If he has not served papers, he's under no obligation to go to court. He's under no obligation to have jurisdiction against him, so they can't order him to do anything, right? You got me? So those 3 recordings do not show the proof that Kyle Curtis still lived with mom, that he never fully moved out of mom. Got me? There's only one thing that has popped up that shows that Kyle might have been living with mom the whole time. That is Benjamin effing Potts?
At least through July 16th. So that's not an admission that he moved. It's just saying we both agree that he lived there at least until that point. Okay, so we, again, don't acknowledge that he moved. And we'll present evidence at a hearing if it comes to that.
Why did he say this? You know why? Because he was tired of people saying that they were going to lose. He got so tired of people saying that they were going to lose that he wanted to go in and actually throw it. He's like, I'm so sick of everybody treating us like we're going to lose. I'm so sick of people rubbing this in my face. I'm going to get up there and I'm going to rub it in their face that I have some secret evidence.
Next point.
Point 2 was the presumption that Kyle was an agent. And Agrippa brought up, I'm sorry, the presumption that Kyle's mom was the agent, and Agrippa brought up 2 facts to counteract that. The first fact was that that on the document, on the service document, the signed service receipt was checked to addressee and not agent.
Good point, Leslie. Yeah, anytime they can verify. They have additional ways to verify Kyle's stuff, right? Yeah, I agree. They should do that.
The signatures were different.
I would imagine that Scotty Forbes Lee has already done everything that she needs to do to verify Kyle's papers. Now, I'm not making an assumption of it. I just think that she is a good attorney. I don't think she's going to just sit there and look at what Kyle has and say, this is good, right? Okay, good. She's going to actually prove it to herself. That way, later on, she doesn't get hemmed up in court. Now, she could make a mistake, sure. We don't know. Why would you wait to present in court? If you have evidence that he still lived there, wouldn't you submit it and prove service was correct, says Pippa. That's what every single person said when they did this 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, everybody's saying, why are you talking about secret evidence, Ruhif? You're playing Steve's game. You're trolling us. You're trying to tell us you got secret evidence. But he wasn't trolling us. They did have secret evidence. Their secret evidence was named, what's his name? Fuck, what's his name? Oh, yeah, Potts. Thank you, Bizzy. Potts.
Different, and that the presumption of agent can be easily overturned by the case law by an affidavit from the mom and from Kyle.
All right, so first one was the checkbox checking addressee rather than
yes.
Agent. Don't them fucking it up. That's, would be adversely affected. So, them fucking it up is not going to fuck us up, right?
That the simple, the presumption, if he's saying that if you have the presumption, it can easily be overcome by a couple of affidavits. And I think...
Okay, well, first of all, Agrippa, do you agree we have the presumption?
Yeah, I think, based on law, the fact that you've got the presumption there, you've got a default judgment in place, yeah.
Okay, so we have the presumption, and there's...
Now, I've been making this argument since the beginning. I've been telling you guys, it's pretty obvious that they chose a specific way to serve Kyle where they could get the presumption of service without being required to hand papers and make Kyle Curtis sign it. Why? Because Kyle Curtis wasn't going to sign that paper. Kyle didn't want to go to court. He didn't want to waste his time. He knew that Steve couldn't sue him because Steve McRae admitted that he couldn't sue him. I've played clips for you where Steve says, I can't sue Kyle. I didn't sign any papers with Kyle. We don't have a contract. I have those clips. You've seen them. I've got paperwork. I've got clips that says where Steve is saying he purposely didn't sign paperwork. I've got clips where Red's Rhetoric and Steve are talking before they pull Kyle Curtis into a call where they're saying that we need to get Kyle to sign a 50-50 agreement, admitting they don't have a 50-50 agreement with Kyle, right? All of this is, why Kyle Curtis doesn't have to just sit there and say, hey, Ruru, hey, Stevie, I'm over here, serve me, right? He doesn't have to give it to him. He doesn't have to stand there and say, hey, come serve me, bro. I'm right here waiting on you. Got me? So there's no thing to sit and hold against Kyle because he didn't offer himself up to be served. Though they should have put the service in Kyle's hand. If you would have put the service in Kyle's hand, you wouldn't be sitting here trying to make these crazy arguments by manipulating one of Kyle's emotional and a little bit, what do you call him? I don't want to insult the guy. He's an emotional dude. He's definitely a little lost. You know, going around. If you now listen, I'm not being mean to the guy saying this. If the guy admitted to people in DMs that he's been using drugs lately, okay, meth to be exact, and he tried to say that Kyle slipped it to him and stuff. I don't believe that at all. I think if he did use it, he used it of his own free will and volition. Come on, dude. You can't come up here and expect us to believe that. You know, because if Kyle would have slipped it to you, you should have gone to the police. You should have gone to the police and turned him in and said, this dude is slipping me meth, dude. Like, I shouldn't be slipped meth by people. That's wrong. You got me? Anyway.
It's very clear case law, and it's repeated multiple times. So the main precedent case is called Granville v. Tipton. And I'll just try and bring it up if I can. Excerpt, generally must present evidence that service of process other than... So it's pretty clear. It's saying we have the presumption, and how you overcome the presumption is show that the defendant didn't get actual notice.
No, that's not. That's not what... Didn't get actual notice? Actual notice doesn't equate to service. So you can't presume... You can't overcome the presumption of service by showing that he didn't get actual notice. Actual notice is not service. We've heard that a million times. You've even said that. Actual notice isn't service. What do you mean?
There's another case.
Okay, can we just stop there for a minute?
Please, Agrippa. Oh, my God, I hope Agrippa calls him on it.
Define notice for,
Right.
you know, what does notice mean? What does
Getting the
notice mean?
papers. Did he get the papers?
Yeah, he didn't get the fucking papers, my dude. He might have known that you guys were suing him, but he didn't get the papers.
In what time frame?
Not 100%. I seem to recall in one of your streams with Kyle, he said he not only gave documents to his lawyer, but also logged in and showed her online. Huh. I don't know. You'd have to hook me up a little more info, but thank you.
Time
Or tell me what you were meaning by that. You got me?
frame's not overly relevant. I mean, we know that he got it with weeks in advance anyway, in advance of the deadline. So even if he argued that, we would say we know that he got it at least, I think it's by September.
How do you know that he got... You don't know that he even got the papers. All you've been arguing this whole time is that Kyle knew he was being sued. You don't... So now you know something that's never even been alluded to whatsoever? Kyle's saying that he's been served, or that, you know, he's been served a lawsuit. Isn't him saying he got the damn papers? Everybody knows that. For fuck's sake. People, you know, someone takes someone to court, they may just refer to being taken to court as being served, you know? It's just way people talk. It's why in court, you can't just go in and say, this person said that they were served, so now we have to assume that they got the papers in the way that the court says that they must for service to be correct. You can't do it. But either way, I'm just a stupid UNIRock. What do I know?
Oh, no, sorry, by, at least by September 10th.
How arrogant are you to say that you know he not knew that he was being sued, but touched the papers, had papers in his hand by September 10th? That's crazy.
Because he's talking to Nick Lamar Suda, and he's talking to talking to Nick Lamar Suda about, you know, we got these papers and I'm going to respond in a couple.
That doesn't mean that he was served properly. That's what people say when they are being sued, dude. If you use this logic on Steve McRae, you could completely destroy him in minutes over the non-sex. If you could go, every excuse Steve McRae has ever used when it comes to him saying things like, I have a contract with Kyle. I don't have a contract with Kyle. I have a contract with Kyle. I don't. These are 4 separate clips. I don't have a contract with Kyle. What are you going to say? What is his excuse then? I wasn't saying that I had an actual contract. In the first clip, I said I got a verbal contract. The second clip, I meant an email. The third clip, I meant that I had a contract in my dream one day. You get me? You can't use these standards against Kyle, but not use these standards in calling out Steve, dude. It's psycho.
Couple of weeks.
I love that he brought up Hogtie from the Discord recordings. If Kyle was not living there and didn't have his mail being forwarded, then the bank and the other places should have had mail returned back to them. No, the bank and the other places were being mailed to... Oh, wait, are you saying if he wasn't living at the boyfriend's house? Oh, you're correct there. Yes, you are. You're correct there, but the bank didn't have those things, you know?
So that...
Returned to them, I mean.
As a matter of fact, that's not an issue. If,
as a matter of fact, because Kyle said that he got papers, he makes the slang statement, yeah, I got papers, yeah, I got served, and all of a sudden this means that he was served properly under the law. And this is why you're arguing a flat earth argument, dude. I'm not trying to be mean. None of this matters anymore. On Friday, we get to find out if you guys successfully have played gamesmanship on the judge enough to have this stupid case extended. We'll find out if you have that happen by Friday. Or we'll find out if on Friday the judge is going to see through what you're doing with Kyle's ex and make your lawyers come in and the judge just go ahead and rule regardless. We'll find that out on Friday. But either way, the YouTube community is sick and tired of this bullshit being played and you guys just sitting here treating us all like we're fucking stupid, right? Oh, yeah, Kyle said that he got papers, so that means he was served properly. Yeah, but if Steve McRae has been being sued by Kyle and Steve McRae didn't have the papers served to him properly, you guys would be trying to have this case thrown out, claiming that he wasn't served. And we all know it. We all know that if the situation was reversed, you guys wouldn't even blink or hesitate to sit and cry to the sky above that Steve was served him properly so that he doesn't have to go to court and there's no jurisdiction over him. That's what you guys would be saying.
It was an issue that he only got it 2 or 3 days before. You know, there's plenty of case law where they ask for an extension to reply. It gets granted.
That's not what people do in the United States. You don't just serve somebody improperly and then say, you should have asked for an extension because we didn't serve you properly. It's not how it works, dude.
You know, not a problem.
You don't.
Why didn't you turn in any of that case law in your filing then? If this case law is it, why didn't you turn it in your filing?
I think these pro se will have any weight with the judge.
No, he plenty on.
Is that
I understand the whole secret evidence thing, and this.
Here we go. Here's his thing on secret evidence.
I'm struggling why you haven't presented this evidence already.
Now, you heard the first clip. The first clip I played for you is where Ruhif states that the evidence that if we end up having to, we are going to present evidence at a hearing that Kyle was still living with his mother. This is Ruhif's statement. I played it for you. If he needs to, they're going to present evidence at the hearing that Kyle still lived with his mother. The recordings that Kyle presented do not state a thing about Kyle still living with his mother at all. So that last filing, the filing that had the 3 recordings, 2 Discord and 1 from my stream, that does not prove that Kyle was still living with his mother. So factually, he is not referring to that filing in what he said. But there is something that does fit exactly to what Ruhif said. He does have something that just popped up. Thank you. There is something that just popped up yesterday that does prove, if he's not lying, for Steve and Ruhif, and he just so happened to tag Steve and Ruhif. He just so happened to DM Steve and Ruhif yesterday out of the blue, where Kyle's ex is saying that Kyle has lived with his mother the entire time. So the secret evidence that Ruhif is referring to is Benjamin Potts, and he's about to elaborate on the secret evidence.
Yeah, I understand the whole secret evidence thing, and this the evidence that we will present at a hearing.
The evidence we're going to present at a hearing
to show that he hadn't moved.
To show that he hadn't moved. Oh, some evidence that they've been holding in their back pocket since when? At least August 16th.
I would have liked it to be in the brief the other day, and there are procedural reasons why it didn't get in there. But it does exist. You know, I'm not.
It does exist. The secret evidence that proves Kyle still lived with his mom exists.
Steve going out there.
I'm not Steve, just throwing out the secret evidence thing.
I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm just asking why it hasn't been presented. That was my only question.
Basically procedural reasons.
You're not blowing smoke up my ass and saying, it's secret stuff.
Yeah,
I'm sure there is a case there.
Kyle was on ProLib's channel yesterday, the day before, and he said,
now he changes the subject, but let's see what he says.
we're filing another amended motion, another response to this motion. I don't think that will be allowed.
So how ironic. He's saying Kyle shouldn't be allowed to file a response when the first filing's from Kyle, the second filing's from Steve, and the third filing is from Kyle, which is procedure, okay? Now, he's talking about the third one. He's saying that Kyle filed first, we came back. Kyle shouldn't be able to go third, though it is normal procedure for Kyle to go third. What is not normal procedure is for someone to withhold evidence, Ruhif, when you file something, withholding Benjamin Potts, the secret evidence you're talking about here, the secret evidence that you and Steve have been referring to for months now, the things that you say will end up proving that they have even alluded that Kyle's documents are fraudulent. Before this, they have alluded that the documents are fraudulent. Well, that's what Benjamin Potts said. They've alluded that Kyle still lived with his mother. Well, that's what Benjamin Potts said. Now, every sane person on the internet was saying, why haven't you shown us any evidence that his paperwork is fraudulent? Why haven't you showed us any evidence that he was still living with his mother if you're going to go around dropping all this bullshit about how he lived with his mother and that his documents are fraudulent? Well, we kind of found out yesterday because Potts came out and tagged Steve on Twitter, making it look like it was the first time he'd communicated with Steve. And Potts is lying in DMs saying that he told people yesterday that Potts had never communicated with Ruhif or Steve before. So is he just playing word games? Has he communicated with Cheshire and Cheshire passed along the information to Ruhif and Steve so that Potts could go around telling people that he hasn't communicated with them? Because I'm going to tell you right now, factually, if you just go back and listen to this after hearing what Potts said, you will agree with me, as all of you are going to as I play through this, that these guys knew about Potts months ago, and they sat on Potts' evidence to withhold him to release the filing of Potts a few days before the hearing Friday so that they could get an extension on that hearing. They did it because they needed to buy more time. In my opinion, they need to buy more time. In my opinion, Potts played ball. And why would Potts play ball? Potts loves Kyle Curtis. Kyle was in love with Potts. They were together for a year. They posted pictures with each other for a year. Potts in February posted on Twitter now that we know with the now deleted tweets to make it look like he'd never communicated with these guys before. And in those tweets I showed you yesterday where Potts is trying to tell Ruhif and Steve that Kyle's lying about everything. He's squatting in my house, but he's never lived in my house, as he said yesterday. And, which is a complete contradiction, and everything that Kyle's ever said about Steve McRae is a lie. It's kind of strange because I'll just come out and say it. I will just come out and tell you now my point as we go along. My point is, when you go to court like this, you're supposed to submit your evidence ahead of time. The minute you have evidence, you are supposed to submit it. So if new evidence falls in your lap, you cannot withhold it for months so that you can, play it whenever you want so that you can get an extension on a certain thing. Or if you know they're about to get your case thrown out because of bad service and you know that the other lawyer is beating your ass with their filings, you can't withhold somebody like Potts and then drop Potts right out in front. And I am completely convinced at this point, yes, this is my opinion. I don't know anything about the law. I don't give you legal advice. I don't do YouTube law bullshit. I'm just a damn commentary, gaming, response YouTuber. That's all I am. But I'm going to tell you this. I'm absolutely convinced that these guys knew about Potts for the last few months because their specific indicator to what evidence they had in their back pocket was going to prove Kyle Curtis had fraudulent documents and prove that Kyle Curtis didn't live with Benjamin Potts, but lived with his mother. Nothing they've submitted up to now does those two things that must happen due to their own words, their own descriptors of their evidence, those two things are the secret evidence. But the only thing out there that meets those two conditions is Benjamin Pott's words. In fact, specifically speaking, Benjamin Pott's words does exactly those two things. Now, my point is, if they did know about Potts for the last few months, which we can prove now, how is the judge going to react when Kyle's lawyer proves to the judge that these guys held Potts's testimony, I don't know, whatever the fuck it is you call it, held Potts's statements until they could play it to gain themselves more time? How is the judge going to take that? You get me? I think the judge isn't going to like it. I think the judge is going to consider it gamesmanship. In fact, looking at the definition of gamesmanship, this is very clear gamesmanship in my opinion.
But if they do, then I imagine this secret evidence will probably be in our response to that.
Now, wait, what did he just say? He's saying that they're not going to play the secret evidence unless if something happens. Let's listen.
I don't think that will be allowed. But if they do, another amended ProLibs channel yesterday, the day before.
Oh, did you hear him? He just said that Kyle's lawyer is about to file an amended motion. If they do file an amended motion, we are going to present secret evidence before the hearing. So they aren't going to present Benjamin Potts unless Kyle's lawyer comes in and drops a banger. And if he's admitting it, he's saying it right now. If Kyle's lawyer drops a banger, they're going to drop evidence that, one, they are fraudulent documents, and two, that he lived with his mother the whole time. I'll go back 10 seconds, and I'll let you hear the whole thing.
Blowing smoke up my ass and saying, yeah, it's secret stuff.
Yeah,
I'm sure there is a case there.
Kyle was on ProLibs channel yesterday, the day before, and he said we're filing another amended motion, another response to this motion. I don't think that will be allowed, but if they do, then I imagine this secret evidence will probably be in our response to that.
If Kyle's lawyer drops a banger, if Kyle's lawyer doesn't drop a banger, we're very satisfied that we're going to win. So we're not going to drop this bombshell Benjamin Potts. We're not going to break the pot. We're not going to break out the pot. We're not going to break down. We're not going to roll a J. We're not going to break out the pot we got. You got me? We're not going to drop the pot. We're not going to kick the pot. We're not going to crack the pot open and show you the contents of the pot unless they file another amended motion that completely owns us. And if they do own us, if we get scared we're not going to win, if everybody starts thinking that we're going to lose, it will drop Benjamin Potts on them.
But like I said, I don't think that will be allowed.
Just stop there for a sec, Glenn, because in that response, your lawyer's latest response,
yep,
the first paragraph, he mentioned this ability to negate any further responses going back, fundamentally, setting it all back to Kyle's original response. Did you have the law that should have been used from I could see?
That's our point. Is there is no law. There is no law saying that you can amend a motion.
There's no law saying, yes, there is. There is law that's saying that Kyle's lawyer gets to respond to you responding to them. Here's how it works, Ruhif and all. Ruru, you file. Got me? Kyle's lawyer files something. You guys get to respond. Now, if Kyle's lawyer says, I don't have anything to say, then it's done. They said their piece, you said your piece. But if they see something in your response that makes them say, now, hold on a minute, I got to address that, they get to, right? It's just logical. Now, it doesn't mean you get to come back and just go daisy chaining this shit forever. You put everything, they put everything they got in their first one. You put everything you got in your response. And only if there's something that you brought up that they didn't get to address in their first thing, they get to address it. That's what they did. They didn't do anything wrong. They didn't do anything outside of procedure. They did their thing. You gave your full response. Then they came back and responded to just the stuff that was new, right? There we go. Makes perfect logical sense that that's how it works. it would be illogical that you get to respond to the response of the response. Then that would be a fourth response. Then they're going to have to come back and do a fifth, and then you could do a sixth and a seventh, and courts could last for years just over people arguing simple points. So the court says, no, if you file something and you want to respond, you can, but then if they want to respond to something new you've brought up, they get to, and that's it. So really, you guys drafted this weird thought process about we are going to respond to their first thing. And if they come back and own our response, we are going to withhold this secret stuff and just bloop, drop it on out there.
Yeah, so when it says it does not contemplate amendments of motion, you can't quote a law. It's not there. That's the point.
I don't think she quoted a law. I think she just showed case law that beat what you submitted. That's not showing something new. That's showing that you misquoted case law, or you didn't use case law appropriately. I don't think, I mean, if you read it yourself, it all makes perfect sense. Kyle's lawyer does. These guys, their filings are like trying to goddamn run through a maze looking for cheese. It's so hard to follow their filings because they don't lay it out in an understandable way. They don't give any examples. They don't rebut anything that was said by the lawyer. I really don't think they get it. They go around acting like everybody else doesn't get it, right? But in reality, I think it's them that doesn't get it. You get to respond to what the lawyer said. You don't get to come in your response and make a whole bunch of new stuff. That's what you're saying here, but that's what you did. Kyle's lawyer has done nothing but actually respond to what you guys are showing effectively, very effectively. So I don't get this. What you're saying here makes, I honestly thought Ruhif was trolling. I went through this whole video and I didn't respond to any of this because I thought, it's like Ruhif is trolling through this whole thing. It's like he thinks everybody else is stupid and he's the smartest dude that ever lived. And he has some secret knowledge that we don't have that's going to change the face of the case. But he's not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to deprive Kyle's lawyer of the ability to look at what you have and then apply laws to it, apply arguments to it. The only way that Kyle's lawyer can do that is by you guys being up front and actually filing your evidence, not withholding it until you got some secret little thing you need to have happen, and that's exactly what you guys did.
Does that make sense?
So judge's discretion, basically. I'll allow this to continue.
Yeah,
It's not the judge's discretion. That's normal for these things to happen. At least that's how every lawyer's explained it to us up to now. You're the only one, Ruhif, that disagrees with every other person out there that, yes, you get a file, they get a respond, and you can respond to the response. Yes, you shouldn't be putting new things in, new pieces of evidence in when you respond. You should just be hitting what they put in and actually giving something that rebuts what they said, if you can.
I think it will be allowed, given that his first motion was pro se and this one was not.
Yeah, I think that's the elephant in the room is the pro se thing. And that's where I think Kyle's going to get a fair bit of leeway to a point. There's a realistic point where, hey, and if what you're saying is correct, that there's a knowledge base sitting out there and there's, evidence sitting out there. Again, the veracity of that evidence in the judge's eyes is going to be the...
Ben, just for one procedural point, if Kyle's motion from his attorney is allowed in, then you have a response, and then usually by right. Again, I don't practice in North Carolina, but usually by right, the plaintiff then has the right to rebut. Just that, and that will be the final say. So I just want to make very clear. So, are you guys saying that Kyle should not be able to file the rebuttal to your last filing?
Yeah, it's what you said, Ruhif. You said that he shouldn't be able to rebut what you filed when that's typical procedure. Yes.
It depends what he posts.
It depends what he posts.
If it's an amended motion, then no, I don't think he should. He's already had 2 bites. If it's a rebuttal, sure. And then I guess at trial, we'll have to, at the hearing, introduce evidence that he didn't actually move.
Okay.
But
hold on, I didn't hear that. Hold up.
If it's a rebuttal, sure. And then I guess at trial, we'll have to, at the hearing, introduce evidence that he didn't actually move. Okay,
he said it again. We have to hear this. This is the important part that I've been listening for. Now let's hear it one more time.
Bottle, sure. And then I guess at trial we'll have to. Sorry, no.
The plaintiff can then has the right to rebut just that, and that will be the
Now that makes sense, Nate. See, I hear what Nate says, and it makes sense.
final say. So I just want to make very clear. So are you guys saying that he should not
What if Potts is trolling Steve? Well, we don't know what. See, this is the thing. You know why I think it's performance? You want to know why I think it was a big performance Potts thing? Because Institute, Larry, what's the discussion about? The discussion is showing that we can prove Ruhif and Steve have known about Potts for months, based on what they've said in the past. Hold on, let me do this. Everybody in the house is talking, so let me turn this up. There we go. All right. So here's what's up. Let me see. Let me read this again. What if Potts is trolling Steve? I don't think so, and here's why. Because they didn't elaborate. It's not like Potts came out and exposed Kyle, right? Remember Potts' first tweet? It was something to the effect of, "Yo, UNIRock. Yo, Steve. Why are you guys believing Kyle when Kyle is lying to everybody and blah, blah, blah?" Okay? That was his first one. Now, if I would have responded to him, or if somebody would have responded to him back then, he probably would have elaborated and gone further, right? He would have said, yeah, this is what's going on, and I want the public to know because why are people trusting Kyle? He's lying, right? Well, nobody responded to him back then, and eventually he deleted those tweets. I do believe that Steve McRae responded to him in DMs. I believe they got a hold of him. I've already told you why. I've shown you clips to why. But, and there's way more than this. We've got tweets out there that show this. We've got comments out there that show this. They've been alluding that they've had Potts' testimony for months now. Since literally back when Potts first tagged them. Right after Potts first tagged them, they've been alluding that they have some kind of secret evidence that exonerates Steve and damns Kyle. Now, the reason that I think that Potts is trolling all of us with Steve and Ruhif is because Potts tagged Steve and had a short conversation with him that ended in Steve coming in as the hero to help Potts. Oh my God, that evil Kyle did bad things to you. I am so sorry. I've heard things. I am so sorry. I'm going to DM you. That's what makes me think that Potts and Steve are working together to make it appear as if yesterday was the first time they communicated, so that when they go in front of the judge, they can say, but judge, on Twitter, we can prove to you that this was our first interaction, good judge. See our first interaction? Steve McRae swooped in as the hero and said, oh, Mr. Potts, I've heard so many bad things that Kyle has done to you. I'll DM you. I'll give you some moral support. I'm the hero, McCrazy, coming in to swoop in and help you. And I can see what Steve said on Twitter to Potts. It makes absolutely no sense. Do you know why? Because Steve McRae gets tagged by sock accounts all the time, and he doesn't respond to them. Typically, he blocks them. When he goes to an account, when somebody tags him, it's like Steve looks at the account. And if he sees that the account is brand new, never posted, if it follows UNIRocktv or Menace to Sobriety or Nate Brody, he immediately blocks the account. If the account's blank, he immediately blocks the account, thinking that they're just going to come in and troll him. But in Potts' case, Potts had nothing on his Twitter, tagged Steve, and Steve's first response isn't to ask him if this really is Kyle's. Now, remember this, Potts had never used Twitter. Admittedly, Potts never used Twitter. So he had this blank account, and Steve, for some reason, knew it was Potts. It was fake. Yesterday's interaction between Potts and Steve was staged so that when they go to court, if they end up using Potts in court, they're going to be able to show the first interaction on Twitter to the judge. The judge is going to have it in front of him. He's going to read it. It's going to say, I've been abused by Kyle Curtis because he's an evil, narcissistic, asshole liar. And then Steve is right under there saying, and I'm going to help you through it, being the superhero McRae that I am, leader of non sequitur, internet philosopher, advice giver, teacher, mathematician of the ages, right? When you read it, you can tell that it is a completely staged looking thing. I showed it to you yesterday on stream. Not going to pull it back up today. Unless it's sitting here in the current live stream room, I'm not going to pull it back up today. I don't think it is in the current live stream room. It's not. So, anyway, the point is, if you just go and listen to this one video, you can tell that Ruhif already knew what Potts was saying. You could tell that Ruhif had already been having Potts tell him that Kyle had been lying. You could tell he already had gained the knowledge that Potts was saying before Potts had even told anybody. Therefore, how did Ruhif gain Potts' knowledge? Potts the only one saying this. Potts hasn't said it. According to Potts, he never said it to anybody else. We asked him. We asked Potts if he had talked to Ruhif or Steve before or anyone else. He said no. This is his first time, right? He didn't even bother to tell us that he had tagged people on Twitter in February. We found that out by searching the Wayback Machine. What is my point? Why didn't Potts be honest with us and just say, well, yeah, I did try to tag UNIRock and Steve back in February. Well, yeah, and then I tried to tag Steve McRae again in March. Why didn't he tell us that he'd been communicating with someone? Because their excuse could be, well, we had heard rumors. But rumors doesn't make you stand up and say that you have secret evidence that you can file to a judge a month ago, right? A month ago when they did this stream, a rumor that they heard wouldn't cause them to go around saying, yo, I'm going to file something to a judge, baby. You get me? So what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that there is hard evidence in front of you that these guys knew what Potts was saying at least a month ago. And if we want to be logical about it, we can go back to when they were putting on Twitter and in the comments section the Potts narrative that Kyle's paperwork is fake and that he had been living with his mother the whole time. And we can show them doing this in the comments section on Twitter all the way back for months. And the only person out there who has been saying any of this is Potts. And you don't when these guys gained the knowledge of Potts at the very first chance they got with Potts making this claim, if they thought it was actually credible and Potts was not just trolling or lying or trying to throw Kyle under the bus for breaking up with him, then they should have taken it to the judge then. Because then it would give Scotty Forbes Lee, Kyle's attorney, the opportunity to build rebuttals, to interview him, to cross-examine the guy, or whatever the fuck they had to do to gain knowledge from him and show whether he's lying or not. Because that would have been Scotty's job. She would have came in and said, okay, I can prove you're lying because back in February you said Kyle was living with you. He was squatting and you couldn't get him to leave your house. So what happened back in February? Did you eventually get Kyle to leave your house or did he end up living with you? Tell us the truth, man. You can't sit here and lie in court and get in a lot. And then the judge comes in. Yes, Mr. Harry Potter, you must tell the truth or I'm going to lock you up, my dude. And then Steve would stand up and grab his fucking silverfish on the sides of his head and go, tell him the truth, Potts. Tell him Kyle's a liar.
Kyle should not be able to file the rebuttal to your last filing.
It depends what he posts. If it's an amended motion, then no, I don't think he should. He's already had 2 bites. If it's a rebuttal, sure. And then I guess at trial, we'll have to, not at trial, at the hearing, introduce evidence that he didn't actually move.
Okay.
You're going to introduce evidence at the hearing that he didn't actually move. Dude, why did you go say this on Nate's show, my guy? If you wanted to act like the first time you talked to Potts is yesterday, why did you do this, bro? Are you this cocky that you think you can go admit this shit back then a month ago, but then yesterday pretend it was the first time you'd ever communicated with Potts? Seriously, my dude. Well, no, Uni, we were just hearing rumors. Then why did you say it was evidence you could submit? You can't submit rumors, and you know it, Ruhif. You try to hold Kyle to this impossible standard of everything that comes out of his mouth is a lie, is a cheat, is a stealing from Steve. But you guys won't even fucking goddamn answer any simple questions. You want to hold everything as secrets and shit and save yourself in debates with your secret evidence. That's it. You couldn't stand that Agrippa was going to show you up with what he was saying. And you played Steve. You've been hanging out with Steve so fucking long, dude, that you got so fucking pissed in your head that Agrippa was going to best you in this debate. You had to pull out some secret evidence, just like Steve did in his debate with Nate Brody being brought up, saying that Nate had harmed Sweet Heathen, and you reached into your bag of tricks and tossed out the only thing you had, which was this thing that you guys were trying to keep secret until the hearing. But you let it slip back here. You let it slip back here, not knowing that there was one thing that would damn you guys if you did bring Potts up. And you know what it is? That his original tweets were archived on the Wayback Machine, because without those original tweets, the tweets that you didn't know were archived, that I didn't know were archived until I found them yesterday, those tweets show that you've had a previous communication with Potts that would have given you this information that you're spitting here a month ago. So with the Wayback Machine tweets now, we have something in front of us that explains how you had the knowledge of Potts' claims during this video.
But yeah, we're not planning on relying on that yet.
Yeah, just on the need for a hearing, and maybe Nate, you can clear this up. There, from what I understand, there is no need for a hearing if the judge can make a decision on this set-aside motion. There doesn't need to be a hearing for that. The judge can make a decision without. Yeah, and I think that comes back to my first point, which is, take all the technicalities of case studies and everything away. This has been a messy case from day one.
All right, let's hear the rest of what we got in just a moment on UNIRock Live.
One, and trying to walk in.
All right, if you're still with me here. So, oh, hold up. I think we got a super chat. Does Potts know Aussie dollars are worthless? You're not allowed to say that, Gabriel. If you give the opinion that you think there was an incentive hung in front of Potts' face to get him to come out and do this, you're a bad guy. You're a bad guy if you have an opinion that Potts was incentivized into coming out, you're a bad guy, according to the SJW population on Twitter, that is. Because you're supposed to, if you believe that, you're supposed to lie to everybody and tell them that you don't believe that. For some reason, I haven't figured it out, because I truly believe that Potts was incentivized to do this, and I'll tell you why right now. Great point, Gabriel. Appreciate it. Yes, Ruhif is Steve's sugar daddy. That's true. So here's my point. My point is, why would Potts have some... So Potts and Kyle broke up X amount of time ago. I don't know the exact amount. I would say a month or two or whatever. And if he was a broken heart, what would propel him? What would cause him to reach out to Steven Ruhif yesterday, right? What would just be the catalyzing event that would cause him to reach out to Steven Ruhif yesterday? Right? Now, Steven Ruhif and Potts want you to believe, and hey, we DM'd Potts. He wants us to believe that he's never talked to Steven Ruhif until yesterday. He wants you to believe that he never had any previous conversation, never alluded anything to them. Nothing at all. Other than in February when he tried to tag him, they never saw it. So, according to Potts, they never saw it. No previous communication. And 3 business days before the hearing, exactly enough time for Steve to file Potts and deprive Kyle's attorney of actually looking at what Potts is saying, but to gain an effect on the court and the judge. We're talking the perfect day, the only day for Potts to come out and say, I want to tell Ruhif, I want to tell Steve what's going on, but I want to deprive Scotty Forbes Lee of the ability to act on me before Friday when the judge makes up his mind on things. The only day to do it is 3 business days before Friday. If you do it 2 business days before Friday, you run the risk of the judge saying, I'm not looking at that until after the hearing. If you do it the weekend before, then Scotty Forbes Lee might have a chance to take a look at what's up and file something on that next day. So you're telling me that we all believe that Potts, on his own volition, knows nothing about this case other than that he submitted things with Kyle, or his claim about Kyle, because he's never talked to Steven Ruhif. You're telling me that the stars aligned, Jupiter, Neptune, Pluto, the Jupiter, Neptune, and Pluto, Alpha Centauri, Betelgeuse, the rest of them, all the stars in the universe align, with all the planets align, with a bunch of fucking birds that align, straight into Steve's silver flap, so that Potts deprives Scotty Forbes Lee of enough time to file any rebuttal, but yet gives them enough time to guarantee that Ruhif can file Potts' motion in before the hearing Friday. And we're supposed to believe that that happened with no communication with Steven Ruhif, while these videos exist of Steve and Ruhif's knowledge, proven that they have knowledge of this claim. Right? I don't fucking buy it. This entire story, I've been doing everything I can to try and give Ruhif and Steve the credence of at least hearing their arguments, processing their arguments logically, giving them the benefit of the doubt that maybe they're not trying to be fuckity with what they're doing. We all do that when we talk about this case. This is the one time where they have shown their true colors completely. There is no percentage of possibility that Potts just reached out yesterday publicly. No percentage of possibility whatsoever. Uni, I heard Potts and Kyle got the meth from Bizzy and some of that good stuff left. Oh, it's all gone? Yeah, okay. Why would you put it there? You know that can affect your colon? Okay, whatever you have. I mean, you got something. It might be made of bread or dough, but you have something in your butt. Yeah, so I don't buy it. Listen, it's my opinion. Who gives a fuck? Remember, I'm just a dumb as a rock UNIRock. Everything I say is fucking stupid. Everything I say is uneducated. I can't even tie my shoes. I can't even tie. I don't even know how I live stream. I don't know how to do anything. I got an IQ that's really low, according to Stephen Ruhif. I'm just stupid. But I'm the only motherfucker up here saying that I don't buy this bullshit. Okay? So I'm either really fucking stupid or I'm the smartest motherfucker in the room. I can't tell. I don't even care. All I know is these motherfuckers knew about Potts' claims, and they withheld that shit purposely so that they could file now, right, this week, because if they file his shit, guess what it does? Guess what it does if they file Potts' claim in an affidavit? It forces the judge to push back Friday's hearing. And you know what they want? You know what happened? You know what caused this, in my opinion? Do you remember the bet? Remember the bet that they took? Remember it? There was a bet placed that if on Friday Kyle wins, then we go to the Non-Sequitur Show and we all celebrate together. But if Ruhif wins on Friday, then Nate Brody has to pay Steve $100. So what Ruhif did and Steve, they got so worried that we were going to win Friday and stream on the Non-Sequitur Show. I think they said, fuck it, we're going with Plan B. We're going with Plan Benjamin Potts. Let's call it Plan P. Can I say Plan P? I like it better. Plan Potts? Yeah. I'm going with Plan Potts. You know what I'm saying? They're going with Plan Potts. They plan on coming in and dropping Potts' shit so they can push this hearing back. Because guess what happens when they push the hearing back? Then they go and try to dig through every single thing that they can. They try to gain more Benjamin Potts secret evidences. They try to gain whatever else. They try to pull all the dirty tricks. They go and try to buddy up to other of Kyle's exes. They try to talk other of Kyle's exes into coming out. They try to do every dirty trick they can possibly do because they've got the money to do it. You know what Ruhif said the other day in the comments section? He said that he's not going to miss his $20,000 because he's rich. But us poor people, we are going to miss the $100 each that we give Kyle so that he can have a lawyer. Not only are all of these filings purposeful in the intent to be gaming the court and trying to push back hearings and trying to buy them more time to get out of the ruling of non-service. But they also have been doing this because Ruhif has deep wallets and Kyle doesn't. And they want Kyle to waste all of his attorney money with all of these filings having to be rebutted by Scotty Forbes Lee, because every filing that Scotty Forbes Lee rebuts drains money from Kyle Curtis's $5,000 retainer. And they know that if they buy another month or two, then they can sit and file another bullshit motion every fucking 3 days, every 5 days, every 8 days, and they can drain Kyle of the money. Then, in the interim, they're going to go out on social media and start doing more of these Benjamin Pott-esque attempts, right? So this is what they do. They go out and take Benjamin Potts, and they use him to inject narratives like Kyle is doing meth. Benjamin Potts literally claimed this about Kyle. He didn't just claim that Kyle was doing meth. He claimed that Kyle was sneaking Benjamin Potts meth. So their claim is that Kyle was somehow making Benjamin Potts think that he was taking something else, but then slipping him meth. Literally, I have the DMs where he makes this claim. He makes all these claims about Kyle Curtis to a point where when this shit goes out publicly, they're thinking, you know, some of those donators that helped fund Kyle, those donators aren't going to pay more money if they think Kyle's doing drugs. Those donators aren't going to pay more money if they think that Kyle is slipping somebody drugs. Then they get they've got one of their people on Twitter going around acting like Kyle Me Too'd Benjamin Potts. Now they're trying to take the Me Too narrative, combine it with the Kyle is doping people narrative, combine it with Kyle is methed up narrative, because when they waste all of Kyle's $5,000 retainer, they're hoping that no one steps up to give him more money to make sure he doesn't get to defend himself in court. So everything else they've done in the last year to try to deprive Kyle of his day in court, they've even stacked up another 5 effing things against him in just the last week.
The judge's shoes, I think this judge wants to actually have a trial and say, okay, guys,
I don't think he does.
Well, I'm making the assumption that, in a court of law, that they don't tend not to like default judgments. Now both sides are lawyered up.
I don't know how Ruhif says this. It is a literal known thing that judges hate default judgments because default judgments are not appeal-proof. Default judgments can easily be turned over on appeal. Why does a judge want his ruling to be turned over in appeal, wasting the time of the appeals court, when literally the judge could just say, fuck this dude. The dude's here now. You guys didn't serve him properly. Whether or not you say he had notice of this, you still didn't serve him. You didn't take the letter to his current address and make sure it went into his hands. You went ahead and served him in some funky-ass way so that you could just pretend like he got served to the court but still have the presumption of service. So why not let the dude have his day in court? Why are you guys so scared? The judge is going to say. You know what they're going to say? We're not scared to give him his day in court, judge. Go ahead and let him have it. We know they're scared of his day in court. This all is just them trying to make sure he doesn't get his day in court, because Kyle has the ultimate defense against Steve McRae. Have you guys seen Kyle's defense against Steve McRae? Because Steve McRae himself showed us live his defense. Not Steve's defense. He showed us Kyle's defense. You remember what it was? Kyle's defense is Steve purposely said no to entering into an LLC partnership with Kyle Curtis or any other partnership. And he many times stated he did it because he didn't want a paper trail. We have these recordings. You've all seen them. I don't need to play them now. You can just go to UNIRocktv and watch all of this on my Non-Sequitur Show videos. You can even hear them say that they need to get Kyle to sign a 50-50 agreement. They really need that. They have to get him to do that. It's in the beginning of the Truth of Non-Sequitur on my channel if you want to hear it. Truth of Non-Sequitur Show in perpetuity. Anyway, my point, Kyle has the most airtight defense against Steve. Steve has nothing to show that he had a partnership because factually he didn't have a partnership with Kyle. It's the ultimate irony in this case. We know factually, due to Steve's own admissions, he had no partnership. He says that him and Kyle talking about having a partnership equates to them having a partnership. But it doesn't. Not in the eyes of the court, not in the eyes of the law, and not in the eyes of anyone. Not even in the eyes of Steve fucking McRae, man. If the situation was reversed and Steve had the channel and Kyle came in suing Steve for taking it, he would be sitting there using the same fucking... I can't. It's too much. It's too much.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's have a trial. Okay, you've got some evidence, and to be honest, I've been in enough stoushes. And this comes back to my question of where is all this evidence that supposedly exists. Normally, you're going for a default judgment. You didn't know you were going to get a default judgment. You were waiting on call.
Yes, they did. They knew they were going to get a default. That's why they served him in certified mail. It's why Ruhif is an expert in service law. It's why Steve McRae is an expert in service law. These dudes literally sat down and educated themselves on every nuance of service law. They memorized service law. Why? Months ago, why did they have service law memorized? Because they needed a type of service. They gave them the presumption of service. The presumption of service without actually handing the papers to Kyle. They knew if they handed the papers to Kyle, he's going to show up and defend himself.
To respond, you would have been putting all your evidence into that first motion.
No, we didn't. We were expecting a trial. We were expecting a trial.
Well, that's the one that sort of confused me because we've always been under the you hit hard, you hit early with as much.
I don't believe him. Did you hear his voice? Do I got to go UNIRock's body language on this shit? Because did you hear his voice right there? No, I'm doing it. All right, do you believe Ruhif on this installment of UNIRock's
first motion?
No, we didn't. We were expecting a trial. We were expecting a trial.
Why does his voice sound so different there? The inflection in his voice. Whoop. Cats versus Potts will forever, Curtis versus Potts will forever give us the right to weed killers. Planted Potts per hood. See, Ruhif's voice, his inflection goes down by about 3 decibels, when at the same time his vocal cord restricts while looking to the left. This is a clear indicator that he's lying. He did not. I repeat, did not plan on going to trial. Listen one more time and listen for the indicators that I just listed on this installment of UNIRock's body language.
You would have been putting all your evidence into that first motion.
No, we didn't. We were expecting a trial. We were expecting a trial.
Well,
also, look at Ruhif's facial expression here.
You would have been putting all your evidence into that first motion.
No, we didn't. We were expecting a trial.
He looked directly to the left, or to the right. I'm sorry. He looks right to the right. Looks to the right while making that facial expression.
First motion.
No, we didn't. We were expecting a trial. We were expecting a trial.
He's lying. He wasn't expecting trial. They were trying to get a default judgment. This has been UNIRock's body language. Back to the show.
Well, that's the one that sort of confused me because, we've always been under the, you hit hard, you hit early with as much as possible, which, rattles the hell out of your opposition and gets them to the negotiation table.
Like I heard you on, were you on ProLib?
Yeah, I was, yeah.
Yeah, and you guys are talking about, us reaching a settlement.
Wait, now, I thought you guys didn't listen to us. I thought you didn't listen to ProLib or UNIRock or Neighbor Rody.
We really tried that early. And, everyone knows that Kyle doesn't have the money, and he's obviously not going to settle. So it's pointless. So we just went, right, we're suing you. Let's do it.
Kyle doesn't have the money. He doesn't owe Steve anything. He's not partners with him, my dude. Ruhif, if some dude that hung out with you a lot back when you had some business, let's pretend you actually had one. Bizzy, the script is on fire tonight. It's on fire. Let's pretend you had a business and there was a dude that sat with you throughout everything and just hung out with you the whole time. He didn't get paid. And then you say to him, bro, I want to make you a partner because you've been here the whole time. You've helped me with a million things. Let's give you a partnership. Let's give you something in this. He goes, nah, dude, I get paid a retirement and I have a bum colon and I'm suffering fecal impaction from one too many lobster rolls every night. I don't need your partnership. You then, years later, realize that you got a default judgment against you from that guy who's trying to take your business from you and claim that because you offered him a partnership and he turned it down, that now somehow he deserves the partnership. The court needs to travel back in time and allow him to say, yes, I want the partnership. I don't care about my lobster rolls or fecal impaction anymore. That's not how this shit works. When you look someone in the eye and say, no, dude, I'm not signing papers with you. I'm not going to be a partner. I don't want any money. I'm not taking your money because I want my fucking lobster rolls. I want my fecal impaction treatment. I like it. I like fecal impaction treatment. God damn it. You don't just get to then travel back in time and do this with the court system. That's exactly what Steve McRae's doing. And you, Ruhif, wouldn't let someone do this to you either.
Yeah.
Oh, Ruhif, are you going to say, but UNIRock, that's not what happened? I've got Steve McRae's admission that this happened. I've got screenshots of the DMs and paperwork with Steve's rebuttal that this exactly happened. I've shown it a million times. It's on my channel. It's on Steve McRae's channel. It's under a video where he says, I'm finally going to show you all my emails. And he brings up his Google Hangout conversations with Kyle. And you can see on the screen all of these things that I just stated that he didn't get the partnership with him, bro. You wouldn't give somebody a partnership if they did this to you, and you fucking know it, my dude. You wouldn't give up your business, and you wouldn't give the guy a fucking dime. But you would also argue this. When you stood up in court, Ruhif, against your lobster roll eating, fecal impaction loving treatment guy, you would say you should have signed those papers back then. You should have taken the money and the partnership back then if that's what you wanted. You don't get to say no then and then come up here crying now. That's what you would have said in a court of law. And the judge would have said, case closed, lobster roll, dude, get the F out. But now, because it's Kyle Curtis and because Steve McRae wants non-sec, for some reason, this scenario should happen to Kyle when you wouldn't even let this scenario happen to you.
I do want to focus you guys back on one issue that... but that two things that didn't that you guys didn't resolve. First, you guys did resolve the presumption. Both of you guys agree that there is that Steve holds the presumption. So, in all technical terms, Steve is now winning.
Steve holds the presumption until they file affidavits from the mother that says that Kyle was not living at home. Then Ruhif and Steve do not hold the presumption. Now they've got to go eat lobster rolls and cry together. They could use the lobster rolls to soak up their tears. Though their face is going to... I know that Ruhif's face typically does not smell like lobster rolls. His friend's face always does. So no change there.
Now, the presumption of agent, it seemed like you guys were disagreeing
on. I've got a couple of nice little snippets.
Well, the presumption of agent... The first thing, the presumption of agency, from my reading of the law. Now, I could be wrong. I don't practice North Carolina, so take this as just a layman, not as an attorney. But my understanding is the presumption of agency is gotten when the person when the papers are sent to a place, to wherever, and that person then signs for it. That person is presumed to be an agent. So is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Both of you guys agree.
Oh, my God in heaven. So, Ruhif, if you had a friend who liked to eat lobster rolls and was suffering from fecal impaction and had to get treatments for it, and he was hanging out at your house for a solid 2 weeks, and somebody served you at your home when you had moved to your summer home in Albuquerque, New Alaska, if that existed, you would not make the argument that because your lobster roll eating friend just happened to take a certified mail from you at your regular home, you would not make the argument that your lobster roll eating friend is now an agent just because he was at your home and took a letter. You would say to the court, oh, court system, I was served improperly because my lobster roll eating friend is not my agent. My agent is my agent, and my agent was at my summer home like he is every year, as we will prove here. But yet, when Kyle Curtis is being served now, anyone that answers the door is now a presumed agent of the court system. Thank you for shopping at UNIMart.
Quite technically, we could send these papers, certified mail, into the fucking abyss. Someone down there could sign it and send it back, and we would still have presumption of proper service.
I knew it. I knew you hanged out with demons in hell. I knew that's why you're trying to do this to Kyle. I had a feeling that you and Steve hung out in hell, and that's why you guys are so mean to everybody, and that's why you guys talk shit all the time. But now we know. You're admitting that you like hanging out in the abyss. Thank you for at least admitting it.
All right. So I'll read this. This case was Lowe, L-O-W-E, versus the United States. A defendant may rebut the presumption of valid service with, quote, affidavits of more than one person showing unequivocally that proper service was not made upon the person of the defendant.
This is when they are served at their fucking home. This is when they're served at their house. Everybody's already looked this all up. Menace did great videos against this. My dude, why? Why are you ignoring some of the biggest parts of this service issue? If you serve them at their home and an agent answers it and they don't, yes, this might apply. But without Harry Potter's here, without Harry Benjamin Potter, now, see, why are you making these arguments? If you've got Harry Benjamin Potter secret evidence up your sleeve, under your hat, fecal impacted in Steve's colon, next to lobster roll remnant. Bizzy, you fix my script now. It is getting too much, dude. It's your fault. You write this shit. Then, of course, Bizzy, I'm not reading that.
And they quote Grimsley v. Nelson. And then back to this case, the affidavits must show that, 1, the person who signed the return receipt was not the defendant's authorized agent, and 2, the delivery failed to notify defendant of the lawsuit. All right, so
all right. Well, then, bam, Kyle just rebutted service. It doesn't say that the defendant didn't get notice of the lawsuit. It said that the delivery has to get... See, you didn't like that. I could tell. You didn't want to read that last part, and I would UNIRock's body language you again, but I don't want to. I don't care to. I'll just replay what you said. You don't want to read that last part because you know that last part fucks you, my dude. One more time. Take a listen.
And 2, the delivery failed to notify defendant of the...
You know that the delivery failed to notify the defendant because your argument is that a YouTube video notified the defendant. That is your argument. So if a YouTube video notified your defendant, can't we say that the delivery did not notify the defendant? This is why you guys are screwed. You're not trying. You know why you're not trying? Because you have let all of your eggs lay in a very specific Harry Potter type basket. And I will play those clips again, and we will be done with this disgusting topic. Hopefully after Friday forever.
Okay. We do not accept that he had moved. And if it goes to a hearing, we'll present evidence to demonstrate that he hadn't completely moved. So in our affidavit, the one that you went through the other day, sorry, the brief that we put in the other day, and it said plaintiff agrees to or defendant and plaintiff agree to all these facts. And it said, we agree that defendant lived at 1532 Providence Church Road, Pleasant Garden, at least through July 16th. So that's not an admission that he moved. It's just saying we both agree that he lived there at least until that point. Okay, so we, again, don't acknowledge that he moved. And we'll present evidence at a hearing if that comes to that.
I've just proven my case. My case is that Benjamin Potter is the secret evidence that Stephen Ruhiff have been talking about for months. And I'll do you a favor. I'll even one up what I've done tonight because this is what I do on YouTube. This is why I have a show. This is why people ask me to cover these kind of topics. So I will hook you guys up. I will show you even more examples of Stephen Ruhiff defaulting back to this secret evidence that they're discussing here well before this video that happened 3 weeks ago. And I will show you that for a while now, just so happens to be after March, right after Benjamin Potter tagged them originally in his deleted tweets that he doesn't want us to know about because they're deleted. They have been discussing this, that Kyle never moved, which is exactly Benjamin's claim. They have been discussing that he forged his documents, which is exactly Benjamin's claim, and they did not discuss these things before Benjamin tagged Steve McRae originally. Because when they found out about Benjamin's claims long ago, they went to their lawyer. In my opinion, they went to their lawyer and he told them, if you bring this guy into court, not only is he going to get eaten alive and all of it be thrown out, but Benjamin Potter here is going to make you look bad in front of the judge. So I wouldn't use Benjamin Potter, but Steve and Ruhif, they don't think like normal people, and they don't listen to their attorney. So they came up with a plan. If Kyle Curtis bested them, either in service or against the default, they were going to pull out Potter to be their ace in the hole. And after Scotty Forbes Lee's last filing that completely annihilated them again, they had no choice. So they, in my opinion, they went back to old Potter and said, we're using you. You need to go to Twitter and tweet publicly to Steve McRae on that account. You need to make it look like it's the first time that we've interacted. You've already deleted those tweets long ago when we told you to, right? Yes, Ruru. Yes, Daddy. Yes, Pimp Daddy Ruru. Yes, Big Money Ruru. Yes, Millionaire Ruru. And so Benjamin Potter, with his deleted tweets so that nobody knew that they had communicated in February, now presented an argument to the internet that they are probably going to set in front of the judge this week, I would imagine, that old Benjamin Potter, first time he's ever talked to Steve is yesterday, and Steve swooped in, Judge, like the hero he is. You see what Steve does, Judge? When a person that's been negatively affected by the evil Kyle Curtis, when that person shows themselves publicly, Steve McRae is the guy who heals them. He offers support to them. He gives them a place, a community, a friendship, like he did in this tweet, which was, according to Benjamin Potter and according to Ruhif and Steve, the first time that they'd ever communicated yesterday. So now I bet you they're going to put Potter in front of the judge, not to use him to beat Kyle, because most likely, because Kyle has other evidence, like the mother testifying that Kyle didn't live at home. So even if fucking Potter is telling the truth, that Kyle didn't stay with Potter all the time, at least it can be proven that Potter's residence was the main residence of Kyle's in that town. So most likely, and I came up with this too, if Kyle was dating Potter and they got in a fight, and Kyle decided, I'm not driving 2 hours back to my mom's house. I don't want to be there. I don't want to go to court. I don't want to be served. I don't want to deal with Steve. I don't give a fuck. Whatever reason. I'm not saying those are the reasons. Whatever reason it is, he didn't want to drive 2 hours or whatever. I'm going to go stay, says Kyle, with a different guy, with a different friend. Or maybe I'll just go to the bar and bump into somebody and go party for a few days. What would happen if Potter texted Kyle while he was with another guy, staying with some friends, doing something Potter didn't want him to do? He would most likely just tell Potter he was at home, even if he wasn't, so that he didn't hurt Potter's feelings while they were broke up. But that didn't matter because Kyle and Potter hooked back up every time they fought, up until the end, about a month or two ago, when they officially broke up for good. The point, though, is they're going to put Potter in front of the judge. They need to do it right before the hearing. They have to do it right before the hearing because that gives no time for Scotty Forbes Lee to file the laws that will get Potter's ass out of in front of the judge and have everything he said thrown out due to hearsay, due to his lies. We've already got him lying at least 3 times. Directly lying at least 3 times just by us looking into this for a very short period with his archived tweets and the things that he said publicly. We've got him lying at least 3 times. So, Scotty Forbes Lee is not going to have a problem getting him thrown out from in front of the judge. But there's only one thing that Potter would help Ruhif and Steve with. Like I said earlier, because I'm summing this up, Potter could be used to push back this hearing, to give them more time to find something else, exactly what they need. Because if this hearing happens Friday, everybody is in agreement. Without Potter now, before Potter showed up, 99.9% everybody in the world that Ruhif and Steve were getting their case thrown out and they would have to refile if they want to pursue this. Now Potter is going to get this hearing pushed back a month or two so that the judge can have Scotty Forbes Lee have enough time to rebut Potter and have Steve and Ruhif have enough time to question and use Potter, right? But we already have Ruhif and Steve fucked because we've already got them saying that they knew about Potter days ago. One of them said somewhere, and I'm working on getting it, that they have known about Potter for a few days now, so they should have filed Potter on Friday. Nothing should have stopped them from filing it on Friday. They didn't even bother to do it then. They went ahead and waited, made it look like it was the first time they talked Sunday, and now they're probably going to file it this week so they can push back that hearing. And if they do that, hopefully Scotty Forbes Lee has the clips I just showed you, and hopefully Scotty Forbes Lee has the archived tweets from Potter so that she can put that in front of the judge and say, look at what these guys are doing, Judge. They are purposely withholding information from us so that they can try to use it when they need to get their hearings pushed back and to get other things done. And on top of what I just said, I hope that Scotty Forbes Lee, even if now, you see, because something unexpected happened, they didn't expect UNIRock and the Rocka Squad to find his archived tweets. So they might not even file Potter now because they might worry that with those archived tweets, Potter's defeated before he even gets there, because he is. With the archived tweets, Potter is fucked, okay? Now, hopefully Scotty Forbes Lee doesn't care and just goes ahead and shows everybody the gamesmanship that Steve is playing on social media against Kyle Curtis. Because it does matter, you know? It matters that Steve continues to do things like stalk Kyle's exes, try to communicate with Kyle's exes, try to use people, human fucking beings who are in love with Kyle and trying to inciting them to be turned against Kyle so they can use them for whatever they want. Hopefully this finally gets shown because it doesn't even matter now, right? It doesn't matter what the judge sees. It doesn't matter what happens with non sequitur. At the end of this case, even if Steve's wins, he's just a 50-50 partner with Kyle, and he can't touch non sequitur to save his ass. That is provable at this point. He needs to do extra court procedures to attempt to get Kyle taken off of non sequitur if he even wins to get his 50-50 put on with non sec. And another thing is, he's going to owe Kyle a shit ton of money if he gets put as a 50-50 partner because Steve provably never paid any of the debt that non-sec incurred. So in the very least, Kyle's going to win in some ways, and Steve is going to win in some ways if Steve wins. But the point, Ruhif and Steve, well, you know what? Fuck Ruhif. We'll throw him out. Maybe Ruhif is just as brainwashed by Steve as other people are. So we'll say Steve has shown again that instead of doing things on the up and up and facing Kyle in court the right way, that Steve stacks the deck. Steve does everything in his power to dox, stalk people, and go behind the scenes and try to use people like exes and stuff like that against his opponents. Again, he has shown us he wants to pry into your personal life and do everything in his power to try to get one-upped with everybody around him who criticizes him or doesn't give him what he wants. So even if all of this shit happens with this last Benjamin Potts issue, we now know that Steve at least now is showing his skeezy side in public instead of hiding it like he always did. Thank you, Navy. I'll show it since you found it for me. So, Benjamin Potts responds to Steve, and this is what they wanted the judge, in my opinion, this is what they wanted the judge to see right here. Dye says, it seems that they thought they would win the default judgment and had intended to pull Potts out of the trial, but because the hearing is a disaster, they have desperately had to pull him out and use him now. Lisa says, manipulated a heartbroken drug addict. And Han says, Steve needs to shit or get off the Potts. Where's the laugh track, Bizzy? Oh my God, Han, that's so funny, dude. So this is the original post from Benjamin Potts. You need to ask yourself, Potts tagged Steve in February and again in March. He spelled Steve's name wrong in March, but he tagged him in February, at least, correctly. Do you think Steve missed Benjamin Potts' tweet back in February? I don't believe he did. As a witness and former hoodwinked flame, I can attest that Kyle absolutely resided at the address where the summons were delivered. Hashtag surviving Kyle. Steve comes in and says, because he wants the judge to see this, I'm really sorry to hear about that. I had heard things, but wasn't sure. Frowny face. I'll DM you. What did you hear, Steve? You know what I think? I think that if this case goes to discovery, they're going to find out that you guys were communicating with Potts for a long time. They're going to find out you've been lying to this judge. They're going to find out that you guys have been trying to stack the deck of this case against Kyle. But you know what? Steve, who cares? One thing you've done for all of us is show us you cannot trust anything on the internet. On the internet, people only put on their most certain face, the one they want you to see. You got me? Now, there's a lot of YouTubers out there that don't make constant claims and will let you know when they're giving you their opinion so that you aren't convinced by them. So you know it's what they believe so that you can make up your own mind through their argument or through the evidence or through both. But you are constantly going to bump into people on Twitter and YouTube that want to tell you what's going on without showing you the evidence, without explaining themselves. They're not going to tell you when they're giving an opinion or when they're giving something that's confirmed. They're going to treat everything that comes out of their mouth like a fact. The minute you see any of those red flags from somebody, okay, red flags of them not letting you know that it's their opinion, the red flag of them trying to convince you of something, the red flag of them promising you evidence, promising you something, not telling you where to go to find it, you need to be very careful. Because you may end up following someone like Steve, and they may constantly refer you to GoFundMe campaigns, refer you to fundraisers, refer you to hate campaigns, refer you to running around acting like someone you're not by going out on Twitter and just spamming people that you don't know with hateful shit constantly, like he influences people to do for the entirety of himself on the internet. And then you shouldn't be sheeped. People shouldn't sheep you. People shouldn't convince you through those types of tactics. The only thing they should use to convince you is facts, evidence, opinion, and a great argument. That's it. And the one thing that Steve and all of his buddies have in common is that they all want you just to trust them and not trust anyone else. I don't think you should trust anybody. I think you should just follow what's there. And Potts, a message to you, my dude. I got something for you. You know what I think? I think you loved Kyle once. And I think that if you had good intentions, you would not be hiding with Steve McCrae. You wouldn't be hiding DMing with Steve. You would come out and tell everybody what it is you want to tell him. If Kyle did something wrong, you could tell it. If Kyle didn't, you should apologize. Either way, though, you shouldn't be quiet right now. You shouldn't just jump in here and throw out this shit and make all the claims you've been making to people in DMs, because I've seen your DMs. I have a bunch of DMs where you do nothing but make claims about Kyle, not provide even dates, not provide nothing, no evidence, no corroboration that we could go to Instagram where Kyle and you shared a lot of stuff and compare your information to see if it actually matches up or if it doesn't. Nothing. You will give us nothing but a bunch of claims, and all of your claims equate to us believing that Kyle's a horrible person and a narcissist. And like I said yesterday, there's another person out there that wants us to believe that Kyle is just a horrible, horrible narcissist, and that's Steve McCrae. I don't believe Kyle's a horrible narcissist. I think he has narcissistic tendencies just like everybody does. But that's the difference between a healthy person and an actual narcissist. Certain people, of course you're going to have a narcissistic tendency, You are going to have some care for yourself. You're going to have self-esteem. You're going to be confident. Though, narcissism is different than self-esteem or being confident. Narcissism is where you only care about yourself and you're willing to do anything else to other people to get what you want, to be able to fulfill your desire, your image that you portray. Because you're not happy with what you really are, you portray this narcissistic image that you got to convince people of 24/7. And I don't see that from Kyle Curtis, because if he is a narcissist, he's a horrible narcissist. Because he's been on the internet apologizing, telling people where he went wrong, telling people where he lied, telling people how he did it and what he would do differently now, and working hard to try and make it up to the people that he lied to. I don't know how this horrible Kyle Curtis, the narcissist, fits that descriptor. Do I believe that Kyle could have made mistakes and forged some documents? I will believe it when I see the evidence for it. And if he did forge documents, it's going to be easy for it to be proven, okay? But do I believe that Benjamin Potts didn't sign the lease and didn't sign the affidavit that was filed? I do believe he did. See, I think Potts is going to try to say Kyle forced him to sign those papers and he was an unwilling participant. That's what I think is eventually going to happen, if he even testifies. But I want to know what you think. Tell me in the chat now after I read this super chat from one of my favorite accounts, Steve McRae's manager. He says, if my client loses, he will just appeal the results. My client does not want to go to court and prove a case because he cannot. He must win the default. Thank you, Steve McRae manager. I appreciate your honesty. Tag me in the comments. Tell me what you think. Hook me up, peeps, and I don't want to ever talk about this case again after Friday. So get your fill this week, baby. It's the big ending. I'm so tired of this shit, dude. I got to show you a Forbes article here in a minute. I really hope the judge recognizes what Steve and Ruhif are doing and throws the case out with prejudice. I do too. I think they deserve to have the case thrown out with this Benjamin Potts stunt. I think that Benjamin is being manipulated by them, and that is my opinion. What do I think the probability is that Benjamin Potts decided to reach out on the very day that he needed to give Steve the ability to file and to deprive Scotty Forbes Lee of the ability to counter? I think it's about 1%. I think it's 99% that he was told when to come out. And also, if they do use him, I do think it's going to be because it's their only hope, their last desperate plea to attempt to gain something and stop the default from being thrown out, because they have to have the default. If all Kyle has to do is stand up and say, Your Honor, I'm going to present my evidence that we didn't have a partnership. And Your Honor is going to say, okay, go ahead, Mr. Curtis. We didn't have a partnership. Thank you, Your Honor. I am now going to sit down. He wins. He wins. Steve McRae's going to stand up and say, Your Honor, I didn't sign the paper because I didn't want a paper trail. Give me my partnership. Your Honor, I didn't sign the paper because my Medicare. Give me the partnership. Your Honor, Kyle told me a couple times that we could be 50-50 partners, but I didn't sign the papers. Now give me my partnership. How's that going to work? How's that going to work? Let's get Steve McRae's ex to talk smack about Steve. Oh my fucking God. I wouldn't do it. But I do think there are people out there that might. I mean, shit, he's doing it. I'm not doing that. I wouldn't talk about it on my show. I wouldn't do that. No. Not me. I wouldn't do that. I'm just saying. Han says, this case is a pots of gold at the end of a rainbow. Damn it, Hans. Keep giving me these. Keep giving me these jokes. I love them, dude. I love corny jokes and I love dad jokes. I constantly make dad jokes here. Traveling Sasquatch. Good to see you, my friend. I hope I never see another video about Steve. Let me smell ya, McRae, ever again. Me too. Me too. You are going to see one more video, though, and I hope you watch it. And it's going to be my final documentary, The Truth of Non Sequitur. It's going to be called Boomerang. I hope you tune in for it. It's not going to be boomerang like the boomerang you throw. It's going to be the word boom and then the word harangue. Hold on. Let me see how to spell it. Let me see if I might be spelling it wrong. How do you spell the word harangue, you know? No, not harangue. No, not the HW. Harangue means what? No. Oh, here we go. A deep tan collar of skanks that do nothing but go to tanning booths and have sex. A snooky. What? That's what a harangue is? Damn it. Anyway, it's going to be called Boomerang. All right? That's going to be my final video. It's going to be not The Truth of Non Sequitur Show, Boomerang. Navy says, I got a feeling that Kyle's lawyer is prepping right now so she can file as soon as possible. I hope to God she is. And a lot of people are going to say, well, you guys are jumping the gun because right now the only thing that happened was Steve responded to Potts. That's not all that happened. Steve responded to Potts, and Steve also said that he was going to file a motion this week involving Potts. So him saying that he's going to file a motion involving Potts, in my opinion, it means a lot to what's going on. She would have lots to say about Steve. Ooh, damn. I'm sure. From the Forbes article, I'm going to look at the Forbes article with you guys in just a second. But from the Forbes article, Steve does not understand fundamental partnership taxation. Just imagine Steve's face reading that. This gives me the feels. From the Forbes article, fundamental part. Yeah, okay, I got it. Put it in twice. If the pots doesn't work, all in the pan and the kettle too. You know it. We've got months more of this. If Kyle wins this round, there will be a motion to dismiss with prejudice. If Steve wins, then Kyle has contempt and damages to fight. Agrippa, you need to come talk on my show when you get time, if you can. I'm going to try to get a hold of you in a day or two. Oh, there it is. Harangue. Thank you, Agrippa. Yes. It means alternative spelling of harangue. There it is. Okay, so harangue. A tirade or a rant. You better be fucking kidding me, dude. I knew it. Oh, baby. Yes. Okay. So, the name of my final non sequitur, truth of non sequitur, the name of my final one is going to be boom harangue. Like a boomerang, okay? And a harangue is a lengthy and aggressive speech or a lecture at length in an aggressive and critical manner. The kind of guy who harangued total strangers about PCB levels in whitefish. That's the definition. So my final video, my first truth of non sequitur, and then my second truth of non sequitur was the truth of non sequitur in perpetuity. And my third truth of non sequitur video is going to be boom harangue. Okay? And it's going to perfectly describe Steve McRae from the beginning to now. Booming out. When I used to call Steve, when I said that Steve was always booming, people used to jump in. Steve's sock accounts would jump in my live chat and say, what is it? What do you mean by Steve's always booming out? What does that mean? Well, haranguing. He harangues. He booms. He's a boomer. He does not understand how people take what he says. He doesn't understand his presence on the internet. He doesn't understand how people look at him, okay, as the majority. He thinks that while he's boom haranguing out, that people are looking at him and thinking, oh, he's being honest, he's being truthful, he is astronomically honest, when in reality the exact opposite is true. So the final truth of non sequitur is boom harangue. And of course, there will be boomerang animations, because when he harangues, it's like he's throwing his boom out there, but it always comes back, right? It always comes back in a circle. It's just a full circle of boomage. You got me? A full circle of boomage. All right. I would like a mashup video of all the times he has lost his shit. Me too. Me too. Now, thank you, Navy. You are on point, my dude. Oh, shit. What? Oh, my God. You got to be shitting me, dude. Oh, no. Oh, no. All right. So what do we got right here? I haven't read this yet. All right. Someone says, any commentary on this piece? Just curious. This case has been a wild ride, so to see it spoken about here in this way is well different. Ow, this guy was pretty good. There was only one thing I want to say about the article. Steve comes in and says, well, got a lot not quite correct. I still find it comical he thinks Nate and Agrippa are legit sources. But whatever. It's like any other news. They never really get things perfectly correct. All that matters is the judge. So what is he talking about? He's talking about this article. So let's take a look at it. This is on Forbes. This is on a well-renowned, well-known website for like business news and shit, all right? Non Sequitur Show, Object Lesson in Business Formation by Peter J. Riley. I focus on the tax issues of individuals, businesses, and more. A small but passionate YouTube community has become absorbed in what appears to be a very small-stakes business lawsuit. Passion provides fuel for litigation costs that are out of proportion to the amount of money involved in the underlying dispute. This is excellent. This part of this article states that the amount of money that needs to be spent for this court case to happen and for Steve to actually get something is way more than he will ever receive in compensation for this case. You get what he's saying there, right? Oh, it's put in by Strawberry? Thank you. All right, gotcha. Thank you, Strawberry. Excellent catch. All right. Now, back to it. I write about it here because of the insight it gives to the economy of YouTubers, and also the lesson it gives about entity formation and how some people don't understand the simplest tax concepts. And I find this actually very much significant, because if you look at the paperwork that needs to be turned in so that Steve does have a partnership with Kyle, it is the same paperwork that Kyle was attempting to fill out with Steve. Kyle tells me he was never going to give Steve 50% of the business, but he did think about giving Steve 5 or 10 or whatever he could fairly give him, right? So that he had something for the time he put into it, but yet did not have any control or any massive gain, seeing as how Steve never took any risk, never took any work, never did anything to further the business more than just sit there and run his mouth, right? The case is McRae versus Curtis, being heard by James Gale, and you can find documents here. The case is between Steve and Kyle, concerns a YouTube channel, and Non Sequitur opened strong on January with a debate between Young Earth Creationist Hovind. It got 71,000 views. Channel hit a high point with almost 600,000 views on a different video, and went to sort of suspended animation due to the dispute between Steve and Kyle. During its life so far, the channel had 6 million views, according to financial information provided by Kyle in response to the order. The channel produced about 50,000 in revenue. The videos continue to produce revenue, but it's not that significant. It doesn't produce that much revenue anymore. And Steve told me the residual income on the existing body would be larger if the shows were still being actively produced. Probably not. Steve has this assumption that if he goes back to Non Sequitur, it's just going to be all peaches and cream. How? Look at the last year. He got a restraining order from Katie Joy Paulson successfully gave him a restraining order. He's harassed so many different people. I'm not gonna be mean, but it's like, dude, you really think people are just gonna forget about everything? On top of that, you've admitted that you can't sue Kyle. You've admitted that you never signed papers. You admitted you don't have a 50-50 partnership. Yeah, I know later on you changed your tune on all those things, but you admitted all of this when you and Kyle broke up. So everybody knows that you're lying so that you can try to take the channel. You know, there's no sense in fighting it anymore. It's just, we know the truth now. The truth is there, right? So why can't you just be real with everybody? And you'd have a better chance of getting this channel just by asking Kyle for the fucking channel. You know, you've demonized Kyle ever since he kicked you off the show. Purposely. Just not worth it anymore. Ridiculous. Steve told me blah, blah, blah. These shows are live streams which have a lot of viewer interaction. Besides ad revenue, also income from super chats. Here's a video. Jimmy Tries World about dynamics of AdSense, which is one of the components in the income stream from YouTube. The data Kyle provided in the court response does not give fine detail on the YouTube income total of $33K. Most of the rest of the income comes from Patreon. All of NS was getting $8 per 1,000 page views. No, it would have been the CPM would fluctuate during the year. I would say average more like $5, but still. The most extraordinary thing about the controversy is the amount of coverage it generated on YouTube. I tried to compile a comprehensive collection of videos, identified 65 on 22 channels with a total of 93 hours and 204,000 views. I know my list is not complete. A more curated compilation by Cheshire Vic included videos I did not catch. Note, many of the YouTubers involved in following this story, unlike Steve and Kyle, use a handle or perhaps a nom de guerre, which I will indicate by using italics. This is a dispute between two guys on how to split up 50 grand that they made over 2 years. Never in the course of human history have so many said so much about so little. That is a great point. The one thing, though, is I know that this author didn't have time to watch a bunch of these videos. And at least in my case, I more documented Steve McRae's harassment campaign against certain people than the Non Sequitur Show breakup. Non Sequitur Show breakup is just a part of it. RN Raw made a tweet with the article stating that he was mentioned in a Forbes article. That has to burn Steve. It's in the current live stream room right now. Let me go back to current live stream room. Oh, shit, son. We got, my name was briefly mentioned in an article in Forbes magazine. Non Sequitur Show. Oh, baby. Oh, damn. It does have to burn him, for sure. And this is a good point. Never in the course of human history have so many said so much about so little. True, though, the majority of the statements around this have to do with Steve McRae's harassment campaign against certain people and the fact that YouTube and other platforms will do nothing to hold consequences against him. So I do think that if he did watch some of the videos, he might understand why they are there, but still. I think there's a critical mass sort of thing that is going on because much of the material which I have only sampled is people talking about what other people have said and why they are right or wrong. Even Kyle and their bickering have set up a sort of YouTube chain reaction that appears to be self-sustaining. This isn't true because Kyle Curtis was gone for a year. He was gone. He wasn't here. Kyle literally left. So it's hard to say that Kyle did this. I don't think Kyle did this at all. I think Kyle basically got chased off the internet by Steve, and then Steve did all of it. Kyle just returned in the last couple months, but you know, someone looking in from the outside who's not going to watch a lot of the videos, I see why he drew that conclusion, right? Steve indicated to me that the group of people involved so intensely used to spend a lot of time trash-talking one another. He used a different word than trash. Grudges build up, and a lot of it has to do with personalities. No. A lot of it has to do with Steve cyber-stalking people and attacking people constantly. It really does just kind of does just permeate down to that. You know, everything, there's been so many different times in this story where things just completely hit a brick wall and people stop talking about this shit. And all of those times coincide with Steve McRae not attacking people. But he has garnered a team of trolls, and every time he attacks somebody, he ends up losing more and more of the trolls. So now when somebody looks into this, they just see Steve with a few people sitting around him. It used to be Steve would sit around with 50 or 100 people around him doing his bidding. So there was a lot of damage done back when a lot of these videos were done. And now it's the aftermath of the story. Everybody is ending this story. They plan on this story ending on Friday, really. Not to say that there's not going to be something to talk about the weekend. I think basically you could say this weekend coming up is the end point for the Non Sequitur Show discussion on YouTube. People are going to be wrapping up their coverage of everything that's happened. You know, people are going to be moving on after Friday. Personally, I believe that by a lot of people. Much better. I like the orange with the red way better than the blue. Okay. Kyle did not respond to my request for comment, but I did hear from Agrippa, who's been helping him with the litigation. I spoke with Bradley Rooney of Stratton, Tom, blah, 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 to get an idea of what putting a case like this might cost. The majority of attorneys in the area will charge $250 to $4 per hour. From the time of filing, through discovery to trial, mediation would likely run from $20,000 to $60,000. It might make sense, but if only you're really confident you're going to be able to get your attorney fees, which would mean fraud of deceptive practices. Triple damages would also raise the stakes, but you have to be confident that you can actually collect from the other party. Steve and Kyle are released from these constraints. Glenn Williamson Ruhiff, who has substantial resources, is committed to funding Steve's efforts as a matter of principle. Kyle has had some success raising money for his defense on GoFundMe. Kyle was assisted in putting together the financial data by Agrippa, who roped in his CFO to help. Kyle had control over the administrative rights to the channel and financial accounts. Steve's understanding was that they were 50-50 partners. Steve is lying to you. because I have clips of Steve and Red's rhetoric admitting that they need to get a 50-50 signed by Kyle. He knew they didn't have a 50-50, good sir. Anyway, from our discussion, it was clear to me that Steve does not understand fundamental partnership taxation. Steve was under the impression that income was sort of in suspense until he received a distribution. Actually, if there was a partnership, it should have filed for a 1065 and provided Steve and Kyle with K1s. All of this would have happened, good sir, but Steve McRae turned down the ability for Kyle to do this. Kyle said, I'm going to make this LLC, and I need you to sign it, Steve, and we're going to sit down and do the terms of our partnership, which would not, according to Kyle, claim from Kyle, would not have been a 50-50. It would have been like Steve had 5 or 10% or something, even just like some conditions, like Steve gets 50% of the videos that he helps with after the channel's expenses are paid. Something like that, right? Though, this could never be signed by Steve because he refused to sign it. And when he wouldn't sign the LLC, this is all provable with DMs and Kyle Curtis and Steve McRae's own videos that they've shown. But that when Steve McRae would not sign the LLC, Kyle moved on to attempt to, and I have not shared my PayPal link all night because I am a freaking idiot and I haven't been streaming that much lately. If you like my streams, we're going to be doing them way more often, so it would immensely help if you want to support us. It is not required. We will stream no matter what. I'm just sharing the link. All right. I got to remember to do that every hour. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So after Steve wouldn't sign an LLC and actually put down the terms of what they're doing, Kyle offered to give Steve a fair amount of money for the videos he appeared in. And Steve refused to take the money many times. Kyle was going to still pay Steve after he kicked him off the show. And I have a video to prove that. You can watch 2 hours of one of Kyle's friends, because Steve wouldn't talk to Kyle, trying to talk Steve into taking the money from Kyle. Kyle had the money. He was trying to pay Steve money, and Steve wouldn't take it because he didn't want kicked off the channel. Both Steve and Reds admitted that. Just to correct the record, all of this that I'm saying is backed up with video evidence. Something you need to watch out for when you get involved in flow-through entities. Steve never received any distribution. No, Steve turned down any money. He turned it down. I have Steve McRae admitting this. I've got videos, multiple videos over periods of time of Steve admitting this. He can't deny this. I'll play the damn video for you, my guy. A little over a year ago, Kyle proposed that they actually had or would have had a different deal, which led to the blow-up in the litigation, which was commenced by Steve. Kyle did not respond to the complaint, but was filed, so Steve received a default judgment that ordered control of the channel to go to Steve and Kyle to provide an accounting. The accounting that Kyle provided was a month-by-month income statement and an aggregate that shows a $20K loss. That is arrived at by subtracting from the $50K in revenue about $4,000 in expensive to third party, $65,000, $120 per show for Kyle's design work and the like with respect to images that are included. Kyle further claims that he owns the copyright on all images, a forward ongoing basis. If Steve were to end up with the channel, there would either be a royalty agreement or the images would need to be removed. From what I know about film, from my experience with blah, that would be expensive. It's clear the $120 per show charge is an after-the-fact item rather than something that was claimed or disclosed by Kyle on an ongoing basis. Despite about these issues, it's pretty much on hold as another issue emerged. Service. Kyle has argued that he has not been properly served. If he prevails on the default judgment, will be overturned and he'll be back at square one. There will be a hearing on that Friday, September 11 at 2020 at 10 a.m. Nate, the lawyer, will be live streaming the hearing on the service issue. He will have guests to discuss the case, including me. In my opinion, Nate's coverage is the most well-grounded. He refers to the court filings as many of the videos. Nate's a lawyer, former prosecutor, police worker out in New York. Some of Nate's videos on other topics show a powerful merging of video with legal analysis. The two that I find most compelling and timely analyze the self-defense claim of Kyle Rittenhouse and the question of whether the police shooting of Jacob Blake was justified. Nate is a black man who grew up in Harlem and, as note, a former police officer and lawyer, and he presents very well. I agree. It's why I shared Nate so much when I found him. As far as I can tell, nobody has been discussing the North Carolina Uniform Partnership Act, which is sure to come up regardless of the outcome of the service hearing. Here are a few provisions which will likely be important. A partnership is an association of 2 or more persons who carry on as co-owners a business for profit. Emphasis on for profit. The sharing of gross returns does not itself establish a partnership. Oh, shit, son. Whether or not the persons sharing them have a joint or common right or interest in property from which the returns are derived. This is also a tax rule, as you might expect, and thinking of this puts Kyle in a bit of a box. If he wants to charge expensive to a revenue stream that's being split, it needs to be a partnership. Though, that's only because he was ordered to turn this in as partners. He doesn't claim that they were partners. And that accounting to be split with Steve is because of the judge's ruling. If the judge ruling is thrown out, then Kyle would submit different paperwork, I would assume, right? Anyway, you can share expenses or revenue without being partners, but if you share both, then you are sharing profits and you are partners, regardless of how you refer to the relationship. If the arrangement is a partnership, then the following rules may be applied. A problem for Kyle. Unless the contrary intention appears, property acquired with partnership funds is partnership property. All partners have equal rights in the management and conduct of the partnership business. Each partner shall be repaid his contributions, whether by way of capital or advances to the partnership property, and share equally in the profits. Emphasis added. No partner is entitled to remuneration for acting in the partnership business, except the surviving partner is entitled to reasonable compensation for his services in winding up the partnership affairs. Agrippa does have answers to these concerns. Simplistically, it would be that their partnership was in doing the shows, but the running of the channel fell entirely on Kyle, was a separate business in which Steve was not involved. These issues have been overshadowed by the standing issue. In establishing the venture, Steve and Kyle probably should have established an LLC, and this is important because this is where, if Steve McRae would have been honest with this person, he would have told them, Kyle Curtis tried to establish this as an LLC, but Steve McRae would not. That is provable with a video from Steve McRae where he shows DMs and shows a paper that Kyle was trying to get Steve to fill out and sign with him, where Kyle Curtis wanted to make it an LLC. Kyle Curtis wanted to draw the specific details of this partnership on the LLC and then file it. But Steve would not sign it. Steve did not want a partnership. Steve would not do it. You can go watch a video on Steve's channel and see this for yourself. You can see a video on my channel that details through this. It is provable that Steve declined making it an LLC, declined making it a partnership, but then when he gets kicked off the show due to inappropriate behavior that led to him getting a restraining order by a court gave him a restraining order that is still in effect. I can confidently tell you that it is still in effect. He will never, ever, ever prove it's not. You wait and see. A nationwide restraining order. Thank you, Randolph. Very true, my friend. I would not rule out an S corporation, but let's keep things simple. Then they would have had an entity that owned everything, and their rights and duties would be established under an operating agreement. That's the problem, good sir. That's the problem. Kyle was trying to do this, and then he would have been able to put exactly what Steve's role was on paper. I think Steve wanted to be a 50-50, and him and Kyle, probably, Kyle said, I'm not making you 50-50 when we do this LLC, my guy. I'm not doing it. You don't deserve it. I never said I'd do that. One thing he didn't tell you also is that Kyle Curtis did 6 episodes before Steve McRae joined him, and one of his people he interviewed in the beginning, good sir, guess who it was? Guess who the third person interviewed on Non Sequitur was? Steve McRae. Steve was never initially a partner with Kyle. It's just a lie. All of it's fabricated, and once the narrative exists, then all of Steve's friends push it out on the internet and create the giant lie. The entity would file taxes as partnership. You see that this didn't happen, good sir. It didn't happen because Steve McRae would not put his name on paper. If you want an excuse for why he wouldn't, go see my videos on UNIRock 2, or you could go watch one of my videos where Steve says he doesn't want a paper trail. On an ongoing basis, there should have been more transparency from Kyle, and Steve should have been paying more attention. They should have gotten some accounting and legal advice. The reason for the upfront work of establishing an entity and creating agreements did not happen is that they started a channel on a shoestring. No, it's because Steve did not want a paper trail that would affect his A, retirement money, B, other debts that he owed, and 3, his Medi-Cal. And I have clips of Steve admitting that too, good sir. It would really help you to see what Steve lied to you about. It really would. And, in a way, playing out their disputes so publicly might be viewed as a valuable public service. The issues that appear to have principals' feelings that they are doing more than their share of work relative to the compensative scheme is pervasive and unjoined undertakings of all sorts. Certainty accounting firms don't get me started. YouTubers and other considering team-ups might learn from their mistakes. On the other hand, frankly, working on a handshake can quite effective, but it requires people who trust one another, have a sense of long-term mutual interest, and somehow things will end up be fair, or you need to be able to just let things go. Kyle and Steve are unusual in being able to find litigation. They are providing so much entertainment to their corner of the internet that I sometimes think that they are frenemies. Maybe we are not watching an actual lawsuit. It's more like professional wrestling. No, that would be true if Kyle Curtis actually gained. Kyle didn't. Kyle left for a year. And during that year, Steve McRae sat and made tens of thousands of dollars off of attacking Kyle with his show while Kyle wasn't there to defend himself. He had been away from the internet. And Steve made a shit ton of money doing it. Also, another thing about all of this is that Steve got repaid 1 million times over. And another thing that didn't get accounted is that Steve did after shows of Non Sequitur, where he got to keep the super chat revenue and the ad revenue that he got on his channel from doing Non Sequitur after shows. So there's a lot of money that Steve needs to put into that accounting that he needs to split with Kyle that he never brought up if it turns out to be a 50-50. Does anybody make any money on YouTube? Yes. Of course they do. I did meet somebody who stumbled onto a fortune by AdSense. It was a game site, not YouTube. He'd been happily running it as a hobby. His wife suggested they try running ads to offset his $300 per month server cost. When I met him, blah, blah, blah. Other coverage initially I did not consider the story Forbes worthy, so you can find 2 pieces by me on your Tax Matters partnership and blah, blah. And 1 by Robert Beatty. And there is a spirited discussion on the Reddit channel, Dear Mr. Atheist. What? Okay.
Hey guys, it's Shannon.
Oh my God, somebody linked that video. And I haven't seen this one. Preparing for the McRae Curtis Service Showdown on September 11th. I've given up on trying to figure out why so many people, by Beatty, are interested in a dispute between Steve and Kyle. Versus mode. Kyle Curtis interview.
Both of them, both him and Dave, had access.
This really makes me mad, by the way. Go ahead.
To see every.
Is this from Beatty? Oh, hell yeah. We're going to have to look at that tomorrow. Anyway, guys. Thank you for hanging out with me tonight. We're going to be streaming a lot more. I need to get started earlier in the day. I will be doing that soon. Friday, 10 a.m., Nate Brody's YouTube channel, Nate the Lawyer. I will be on with Agrippa, Nate, Menace to Sobriety, and the individual who wrote that article from Forbes. We will all be streaming and looking at this case together as it happens, as it unfolds. We will finally tomorrow be able to see what they turn in. Tomorrow's the day when we see if they're gonna file about the issue of what's his name, Potts, Harry Potter. Good night, Randolph. Thank you, my friend. Good to see you. Hey, bro. Hey, bro. Hey there, dude. Anyway. So tomorrow we are going to find out what they filed that has to do with the jilted ex-lover. And Friday, we are going to be watching the case unfold on Nate, the lawyer's YouTube channel. So if you will, my friends, please show your support there. If you want to support this show, you can always subscribe. Make sure you like the video. You probably haven't hit the like button yet. Do that for me. Also, make sure you check UNIRocktv for uploads and other things. I've been super busy trying to get all this shit out to you guys. I've tried to let you know what the X said as soon as we had it. Today, I'm trying to wrap up with my observations when it comes to Steve and Ruhiv having prior knowledge of the X for months now and purposely not turning it in. To give you my opinion on all of this, if you disagree with me, let me know in the comments. Hit me up. Let me know what you think. If you agree with me, do the same. And if you want to support me, you can financially support us on Patreon. Join either of my channels. This is a gaming and after show or long streaming channel. UNIRocktv is the channel where we're going to be doing more of our shows, our written, our put together live shows, and our uploads. So if you like games, join here. If you like the show, join UNIRocktv if you want to support us that way. And on PayPal, it's an immediate donation to help with live streaming and things like that. If you want to see a lot of live streaming, that helps immensely, though none of that is required other than you watching the videos to support us. That's the best way you can support us, and it's absolutely free. So you don't have to do any of the financial stuff. That's just if you want to, and you know that. All right, I'm exhausted. I hope they don't file this POTS guy. You know, they're going to file POTS. I'm going to just call it. Let me just tell you my final thoughts. It'll only take a minute, then we getting out of here tonight. Let's do it. I'm no lawyer. I don't try to act like I know anything about the law. I make sure you guys know that I'm just the YouTuber giving my opinion, telling you what I think. And I think they are going to file POTS. It's the only way they're going to deal with the default. Most likely, they will get away with filing POTS. They will get away with catching Scotty Forbes-Lee off guard. And they will get away with the judge pushing back Friday. And if they successfully do that, I do not plan on doing anything more than just giving you a casual update until we aren't going to update it on live streams until after this thing is just done. But I really hope this damn thing is over soon. Like, these Steve and Kyle are adults. And NonSec deserves to rest. You get me? NonSec is lucky. They're not like my main channel. All of my bigger videos had to be removed. My entire playlist that had millions of views had to be removed. My favorite videos had to be removed. Many channels went through the same thing I did, like Kev Baker. I could just name them all, and I won't. So many people didn't get to leave their biggest work, their most loved work, the stuff that got them tens of thousands of subs. They didn't get to put it on their channel. Now, Non-Sequitur got to keep that stuff, you know? And it's such a shame if Non-Sec ends up having Steve go back to that show. After everything he said and after all the people that he attacks constantly, maybe if he changed and just start trying to do content, maybe. But I've never seen him do it. I don't think he can do it without Kyle or without somebody else there. And without Kyle, I don't think non-sec will be anything. I just don't think it will. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be psycho. They are out for blood. I think they're going to file pots, and hopefully the judge, if he doesn't catch it immediately, hopefully he will catch the gamesmanship and dismiss it with prejudice. And if that happens, Kyle can take a deep breath. He can exhale. And the worst thing is them trying to drag him. How is Steve getting dragged? He's not. You know? How does Steve get dragged all the time in this situation? He doesn't. He just gets to do what he wants to do. If he doesn't attack people, then nobody even gives a fuck what he's doing. He just gets to sit there and do his own thing. He gets to dictate whether people talk about him or not, based on how he attacks people. Imagine if he just started doing his content and chilling, you know? After 6 months goes by where he just does content and chills, doesn't attack anybody. I don't know, man. I think he's afraid to start over. I've had to start over on YouTube 10 times, you know? And look where I'm at now. I can go live and have hundreds of people watching while we play video games and shit, you know? Why doesn't he want that? The only way to get that is to spend years making content. Spend years just doing what you do, you know? Maybe he should switch what he does on the platform. Maybe he should try to do what other people do. Do some type of commentary. Do some type of breakdown. Do some type of content. Right? Maybe it would make him happy. I don't know if he can be happy. I knew the guy. I knew him pretty well. He trusted me. He really liked me. He liked me because I had a big show, and he liked me because I got millions of views on the platform. You know? He liked me because I had tens of thousands of subs between several channels, and because I have millions of views on this platform. And because of that, I do think he was being honest with me a lot. I don't think he can be happy. I don't think he can. The only way he can be happy is if he has a lot of people watching him and he's allowed to uncriticizedly attack anyone he wants. Without any criticism coming in, he can attack anyone he wants. That's when he's happy. But then again, he's not then. Right? Because then all he does is yell at people. I don't think he can be happy. I don't know. Like, I don't know how we got here with this story. Like, I get to just lay this story down and move on. You know? And Kyle doesn't get to do that while this case is going on. While this case is going on, he is put through the torture of, you know, trying to not allow McRae to go in and destroy what Kyle built. And I know a lot of you guys say, why doesn't Kyle just let him have the channel? And I know why he doesn't just let him have the channel. I know why. Because I wouldn't give somebody my main channel. You know? I wouldn't just give up my main channel. Why should anybody have to, man? Fuck, I don't know. Attacking people and being happy don't go together. I know. I know, it's damn... I think that's why he's so unhappy. Attacking people means you're just tortured by their opinion. Just tortured by them. Look at Aaron Raw. They lie about Aaron. They just constantly lie about Aaron. Aaron handles it beautifully. He just sits up where he's at and laughs at him. You know? Every time Aaron has to deal with them, I gain more respect for Aaron and I gain less respect for them. It's a matter of Kyle having self-respect. It is. It is. And he still has a lot of it to gain. And he's gaining it now. You know, and Kyle should know by now that he's got to blaze that middle finger. He's got to have confidence in himself and not care what other people think. The only way that you can do that is if you're doing your best. If you're doing your best and you're not taking shortcuts and you're just really trying, then you can blaze ahead and be confident in yourself. And I hope Kyle is doing that. I'm not saying he's not. I think he is. I just hope that he realizes he doesn't have to care what other people think. Not in a way that's good, but in a way that where he takes the people who hate him. And I don't think he's doing that now, other than this last thing with Potts. I think that hurt him. I think Steve took a really low blow with Potts. Really low blow. They also talk about Matt Dillahunty a lot. Yeah. They do. They just constantly attack people. And me being like, a YouTuber that just doesn't give a fuck, I'll call them out on their hypocrisy on it. They hate me. They especially hate me after that last discovery on their GoFundMe campaigns, where I found one of their GoFundMe pushers, one of the people that pushed their GoFundMes, did an interview where they state that they are sexually turned on by taking people's money and bleeding them dry. Haven't even put this on YouTube yet, but wait, just wait. Just wait. Are you still going to hold a victory stream on non-sec? Yes, if Kyle wins, we all go to non-sec for a victory stream. If Steve wins Friday, then Nate, the lawyer, has to donate $100 to Steve with the hashtag Ruhif was right. But that is if Ruhif wins, right? In order for that to happen, then Ruhif wins the issue of service. So if this thing gets postponed, then the bets are either postponed or off or whatever. I don't know. The bet is, and I have nothing to do with this bet. I'm just telling you what they agreed on. Steve McRae has agreed with Nate Brody that if Ruhif wins, that Nate Brody donates $100 to Steve with the hashtag Ruhif was right. And if Kyle Curtis wins the issue of service, then we go to non-sec Friday night and we stream. That's the deal. They are very bold. And my battery's dead. Oh. All right. I will see you tomorrow. I plan on streaming after we find out what their when we find out what their filing is. I'm going to go live and break it down for you. I'm sure Nate will also sometime. Keep an eye out. We're all waiting until Friday to end this all. And we are this weekend should be it. Let's hope to God that either the Benjamin Potts thing doesn't get filed, because it's all bullshit anyway. And if it does get filed, let's hope to God the judge is smart enough to go ahead and have the hearing on Friday still. And let's hope that the judge makes the right call on service based on service. Because Benjamin Potts can only say that Kyle wasn't living with Benjamin Potts, even though Benjamin Potts has already admitted that Kyle was living with Benjamin Potts. And Instagram proves that Kyle was living with Benjamin Potts, on top of Benjamin Potts' own statements prove that Kyle was living with Benjamin Potts. Benjamin Potts now is saying Kyle wasn't. He's contradicting himself, so let's hope the judge says this dude doesn't get admitted as evidence. He's lying. He's bullshitting. Or he's just confused, or he's angry, and that hopefully the judge will rule Friday just like we thought he would, so that we get a resolution. Anyway, thank you for watching, guys. I love you. I appreciate you. I want to play some video games with you tonight, but it's late. I'm going to stream earlier in the next few days. We're going to come on earlier. We're going to talk about shit. Then we're going to stream some video games and just chill. So come hang out. We will be playing Escape from Tarkov. So get ready. I'm going to warm up my Tarkov, my trigger finger. 3 nights and a wake up. That's right, my guy. If the judge allows him to enter pots, I hope he uses pots to throw out the case with prejudice. Me too, Boots Mama. Me too. But then again, I'm not a lawyer. I'm just a YouTuber giving my commentary, my response, my opinion. And you need to make sure you go out and find all relevant evidence and information in this stuff. Make sure you listen to everything. I would go and listen to the entire video on Nate the Lawyer's channel and take in everything that was said. Form your opinion yourself. Thank you for being here. Bizzy, you got anything, my guy? Oh, yeah. Totally. Yeah, sure. Okay, Bizzy. Okay, Bizzy. Bizzy, what are you doing? Bizzy? No, you're not. Bizzy? What did I say? What did I say? No. Get out of the chair, Bizzy. Bizzy! Get out of the chair, Bizzy. No, we're not doing this right now.
Benjamin Potts, you should be ashamed of yourself, young man. Kyle Curtis was a boy band. Newton Stack. How dare you do this about Kyle Curtis?
Oh, good job, Bizzy. Freaking good job. You're embarrassing, Biz. You're just embarrassing sometimes. It's just embarrassing. God.